Go back to New York, you wop bastard.
Take your coat and shove it. Oh! I ain't gonna worship him no more. I've had enough of all the primitive fairy tales and folklore.
Oh, God.
I'm getting tired of giving money away to all the Christian corporate whores. You can take your coat and shove it.
Oh!
I ain't worshiping him no more. Well, I was a Christian, soldier of God, believer all these years. All that time I followed every word of the scriptures written like queers. Catch me, say he's a powerful God, living alone in a mighty way. Except in 9/11 when he must have been gone on a busman's holiday.
Boy!
Take your coat and shove it. I ain't gonna worship him no more.
Rectum.
Shove that you're alright if you're with us, 'cause everybody else is wrong. And I'm getting tired of watching people die in the name of the invisible Lord.
Increíble.
Take your coat and shove it.
Oh!
I ain't worshiping him no more. Take your coat and shove it.
Roy!
I ain't worshiping him no more.
All right, 10:41. Boy, does this sound good or what now? We got this new piece of equipment in here.
Sounds great. Want to shout?
Man, it sounds... Huh?
Why don't you test it?
Wow.
Give it a scream.
It sounds sensational. Yeah, listen to that. Pushing it to its limits. Anyway, yesterday's poll, man, well, this wasn't a record, I don't think it was, but maybe in the post-Alien era it was.
Right. It's notable.
317 votes. Not too shabby, man. The election is 5 weeks away from yesterday, which applies to you. I'm voting rock solid for Kerry.
Rock solid.
1,630, 70.3%. How do you like that? Let's only let our audience vote. I'm voting rock solid for Bush.
Rock solid.
268, 11.5% of people who just don't get it. I'm leaning to Kerry, 111. Leaning. And you notice that nice tan he's got now?
Yeah.
Just a couple of days after I talked about how pasty he looked, get a little color in his face, and they gave him that tan in a bottle.
Well, it's all that windsurfing he's been doing.
Leaning to Kerry, 111. I don't give a Schmidt, 85. I'm leaning to Bush, 70. In other words, leaning as far to the right as you can without falling down yet. I'm not eligible to vote 57. Too young, too illegal like George, too stupid. I'm voting for Nader, 50, down to 2.1%, which goes to show you, if you threaten the Nader people with violence, they say, oh, yeah, well, we're not doing that. And I'm not voting, period, 46, 1.9%. Pretty paltry people not voting. In this crowd anyway. Because this crowd cares, am I right?
Absolutely.
There you go. And the ones who don't care, they're long gone anyway. They're busy trying to find some more lesbians. Oh, speaking of fighting something, Ashley Judd is on our beaded curtain today. And if John Ashcroft don't catch you doing something, like pulling your files out. See, you thought I was going to say something else.
I did. I was all worried.
What?
I had
rhymed
my
with
finger on
Ashley
it.
Judd?
Yeah.
Anyway, she was born April 19th, 1968. That makes her 36.
Spud?
And she was born in Grenada Hills. There's that Grenada. I would think in California would be. I don't know how they say it. Something Hills, California. Dated Robert De Niro. How do you like that? Boy, I thought she had better taste than that. Anyway, her filmography, Lovely. Remember that? It's delightful, it's lovely. Remember that?
No.
No, I don't either. Twisted, Frida, Divine Secrets of the Ya-Ya Sisterhood. High Crimes. What?
That's just a funny name.
Yeah, of the Ya-Ya Sisterhood. Waiting for my Ya-Ya and High Crimes, Someone Like You, the Ryan interview, Where the Heart Is, our friend Martin. Well, that must be the Martin that's on Passions now, who looks so much better without that pasty wig and that big nose from 100 years ago. Double Jeopardy. Oh, I need to find out on Passions, is the Alistair Crane, is that the original one that was on the show? Is that why they didn't show his face for like the last 2 years?
Alistair Cook?
Alistair Cook Crane. Eye of the Beholder, Simon Birch. I like the other one better. Kiss the Girls, The Locust, Normal Life, A Time to Kill, Norma Jean and Marilyn, Heat, Smoke, Schmutz, Natural Born Killers. She's been in a lot of stuff. Everybody knows Ashley Judd. What am I wasting all my time with that for? Well, we got important fish to fry, right?
Right. She's the hot Judd.
She's fine. She'll do just fine, as opposed to, like, what's his name? What's that, the other Judd, the actor? Judd Hirsch.
Judd Nelson.
Oh, Judd Nelson. Ooh,
yeah,
I get the willies thinking about him. He's got kind of like a strange deal.
Mm-hmm.
Judd Hirsch is a good actor, though.
Yes, he is.
He never stole a freight train. Okay, Kitty Kelly is a great authoress.
Hey, don't forget to read that Kitty Kelly stuff.
Oh, yeah. From her book, The Family, the real story of the Bush dynasty, or as the Brits say, dynasty. And why do they say that? Because they're constipated, because they're a bunch of silly fools, because they still... Oh, and all the big flap now about how Prince Harry is only making a few pounds in the military. Oh, let's have a collection. Let's take up an offering for Prince Harry, huh? Poor baby. I'm so sick and tired of them Brits. In fact, I think that's the reason for all the problems in the world. They're the ones that drove everybody to whatever neuroses they have today. It's because of the Brits. Oh, before I read this, I better do the break. Have we got to do both breaks?
No, you can just go.
What do you mean by that?
You go, girl.
Yeah, they played our first spot, so go ahead.
So I can do the dial mattress and the other break.
That's right.
Excelente. Okay. All right, so I can just keep going. I was going to give a little tease there. I thought that would be very effective, and maybe length of listenership would be very effective. But right away, Josh Cordes said, no, keep going. Right. Just picking on you a little bit and get used to it. Anyway, here's the deal. I don't want to read a whole bunch from this book, although I'd like to, but no, just a couple of pages here. In fact, it's good that we got this time together now. This is in regard to the, and I'm telling you, this, talk about a sellout. Anybody that thinks that John McCain is a real upstanding, brother.
Used to be an American hero.
You talk about a guy that has no self-respect, no principles whatsoever. He was on, what's his name last night? Lou Dobbs on CNN, the Certainly Not News Nazi Network. And just an absolute sellout. You ought to be ashamed of yourself, Mr. McCain. That's why God's punishing you with all these tumors and your cheek keeps puffing up. Anyway, Kitty Kelly writes, 4 days before the South Carolina primary, the two GOP candidates, meaning Bush and McCain, met for a nationally televised debate. They were standing awkwardly next to each other in the studio, and McCain turned to his rival. George, he said, slowly shaking his head with disgust. The governor played by Godfather rules. John, he said, it's politics. George, everything isn't politics. During the debate, McCain did not hold back. You should be ashamed, he said, castigating Bush for campaigning with a man who would malign McCain's commitment to veterans. Bush shot back with outrage over the ad that accused him of Clinton-style truth-twisting. Whatever you do, don't equate my integrity and trustworthiness to Bill Clinton, Bush said. That's about as low a blow as you can go in the Republican primary. Morally, any of us at this table cannot perform Bill Clinton. After the debate, the candidates assembled for a group picture. George walked over and grasped both of McCain's hands in his own. John, he said, we've got to start running a better campaign. McCain was incensed by the hypocrisy. Don't give me that Schmidt, he snarled, and take your hands off me. By the time voters went to the polls, the two candidates had come to loathe each other, trouncing McCain 54 to 41%. George won South Carolina and reestablished himself as the Republican frontrunner over an opponent he had described as self-righteous. The reason why I think a few of those people are still angry at me is because we interfered with the coronation, McCain said. Look, Bush and his people will have to live with the legacy of South Carolina. I don't. In his concession speech, the senator said, I want the presidency in the best way, not the worst way. He then charged into Michigan and turned Bush's tactics against him by running a telephone bank that reminded Catholic voters of George's appearance at the virulently anti-Catholic Bob Jones University. George hid behind the skirts of his Mexican sister-in-law. Do I support the policy against interracial dating? Of course not. My own brother Jeb, the great governor of Florida, married a girl from Mexico, Columba, a famous person, plus she's a Catholic. Not even the miscegenation laws in Texas had considered Mexicans a separate race. McCain questioned how that response excused George's failure to speak out against bigotry. He blasted Bush as a low-road campaigner who would stoop to anything, including character assassination, to win. McCain beat George 50.8% to 43% in Michigan. Heading into the New York primary on March 7, 2000, George scrambled to make amends to the state's 7.3 million Catholics for his Bob Jones appearance. With Catholics constituting about 45% of the GOP primary turnout, George wrote a letter to New York's John Cardinal O'Connor saying he regretted not condemning the anti-Catholic policies of the fundamentalist school. He did not apologize, nor did he acknowledge that by accepting the invitation for Bob Jones University, he had legitimized the school's bigotry. In an editorial called Boy George's Bogus Confession, the New York Daily News criticized him for pandering. Bush showed he was willing to sacrifice principles for votes, they said. The Democratic National Committee printed up T-shirts for reporters covering the Bush campaign that said, Bob Jones Redemption Tour. Still, George won the New York primary, and by Super Tuesday, he and Al Gore had secured their party's nominations. Their campaigns began in earnest after the political conventions. George's scorched earth tactics in South Carolina had enraged his critics, especially Larry Flint, the publisher of Hustler magazine, who felt that Bush's stand on sexual abstinence before marriage was the height of hypocrisy. Bush's pledge to put federal funds into abstinence programs further outraged Flint, who argued that such programs did not reduce teen sex. Pronouncing Bush a menace to society, the pornographer hired two investigative reporters to explore every aspect of the governor's sexual past. In October 2000, he claimed to have hit pay dirt. Appearing on CNN's Crossfire, Flint alleged that George W. Bush had impregnated a woman in the 1970s when he was living at the Chateau Dijon in Houston. According to Flint, George arranged an abortion through a physician who purportedly performed the procedure at Houston's 12 Oaks Medical Center. When I said that we had the proof, I'm referring to knowing who the girl was, knowing who the doctor was that performed the abortion, evidence from girlfriends of hers at the time who knew about the romance and the subsequent abortion. The young lady does not want to go public, and without her willingness, we don't feel that we're on solid enough legal ground to go with the story. One of the things that interested us was that this abortion took place before Roe v. Wade, which made it a crime at the time. Without confirmation from the woman, who Flint said had married an FBI agent, the mainstream press wouldn't touch the story. Walter Isaacson, former editor of Time magazine, wouldn't go with it because Larry Flint was involved, said Brian Doyle, an assistant Time editor, even though he had 4 affidavits from the woman's friends. Do you hear that?
I heard 4 affidavits.
Even though he had 4 affidavits from the woman's friends, they wouldn't touch it, and the story either. Michael Isikoff of Newsweek said, certainly there was a great deal of circumstantial evidence to support it, but without the woman herself coming forward to admit that Bush arranged her abortion, we couldn't do anything with it. Richard Gooding of the National Enquirer said that when he interviewed the woman, she denied having an abortion. She admitted they dated exclusively for 6 months, but said they never had the kind of sex that would get her pregnant. The story was pursued because of Bush's stand against abortion and his threat to support a human life amendment to the Constitution, which would overturn Roe v. Wade. As governor, he signed 18 anti-abortion laws, and as a presidential candidate, promised to appoint only pro-life judges. Just a little clip from a book that goes on like 600 and some odd pages, Kitty Kelly, The Family. Or is that The Family? Pretty scary crap.
Yeah.
But don't confuse the public with the facts. It's just amazing to me. I mean, our audience must be very astute, you know it?
Yeah,
What's wrong with the rest of America? Or are these polls just bogus?
The polls are bogus.
Because they're record-breaking registration for voters, even in Dade County, no less, among many people who speak English, which I know is scary, and in Cleveland, and in Philadelphia, and in places from coast to coast and pillar to post. And speaking of that, MoveOn.org, those of you who are members who get the regular emails, I'm sure you already know about this, but in case you're not, the latest email I got this morning from Adam Rubin. He's so famous, they even named a sandwich after him. Dear Broward County Move On member, join Move On PAC volunteers from across Broward County Thursday night to cheer on John Kerry. You go, John, and we sure like that new tan out of a bottle, baby. As he takes on George Bush in the first presidential debate and learn what we can do on the ground to help beat Bush. Oh, you can't say that. Oh, I sure hope Duff has gone to those budget meetings. Sports! If he hears us say beat Bush, he'll go nuts. Thursday, September 30th.
About 30, man.
That's day after tomorrow, last time I checked my calendar. 8 p.m. at the Fort Lauderdale Ale House. 2861 North Federal Highway in Fort Lauderdale. If you can come, and it's got a place you can click on. If you're not a MoveOn.org member and don't have the email, just go to MoveOn.org, and you can also participate. It says we're kicking off the party at 8 p.m. with an appearance by Move On PAC's new Broward County lead organizer, Glenn Hurwitz. Glenn Hurwitz!
Oi!
Glenn will lay out the plan for beating Bush in Broward County as part of the Leave No Voter Behind project and give party attendees the chance to sign up to lead the charge mobilizing voters in Broward County. After that, we'll gather around the television to cheer on Kerry and... Be sure to arrive at 8 p.m. for the presentation with only 34 days left until this election. It is critical that everybody get involved. It's got a thing if you want to sign up. You can click this, click that. Just click it all over the place. Got it? Good. Oh, and Jeb Bush, your fat-ass governor, was appalled yesterday. You know, when Jimmy Carter said that it's very difficult to believe the Florida elections will be held honest and legit and they could have the same problems all over again. And he was appalled after having been such great respect for former President Carter and all the great work he's done after he left office and yada yada. And he said, well, we're getting it from all sides now. Even a group called MoveOn.org is suggesting that this recent epidemic of hurricanes in Florida is because of global warming. Can you believe that?
Yeah. Commie.
That's your fat-ass governor that a lot of you people voted for, and you ought to hang your heads in shame. Man, oh, man. That is unbelievable. Tell you what else is unbelievable. Join George and Boca Bryan from 5 to 7 for happy hour this afternoon at Treasure Island, located off the Palmetto. It's another Wednesday at Treasure Island, just north of the 122nd Street exit. Stop by for prizes and check out this week's feature, Stephanie Evans. Now, she's the ping-pong champ, right?
Yeah, among other things, yeah.
She'll pop out a few
all kinds of
ping-pong balls. Anyway, I don't want to get he's got those budget meetings. A lot of stress for the Buffmeister if he's probably driving over to Greg's house right now. And I want him to know that our good friend, our Toronto engineer, came this morning about 8:45, put in that piece of equipment, and now we feel like, hey, we can really do a show now, without the stress of just waiting for that for that thing to go off again, It was a little bit stressful, to be honest with you. wouldn't you say? At least on this end. You didn't have to worry about it. Well,
Right.
yes, you did. Here's the poll for today. Now, I want to thank Sean, who's a little, I don't know, he just hasn't had too many good poll ideas the last few months, but all of a sudden he redeemed himself. What do you miss most about the 60s? And then, of course, he's got 70s and 80s and 90s and whatever, and about last week. But, so we got several choices on here, which some he gave and some I stuck in there, and maybe there's some other ones. What do you miss most about the 60s? Well, the first one, I wasn't born yet. Say, for all you punks out there, all you young people who still have a long way to live, unlike some of the rest of us who are going to be dead soon. Here's the choices. The sex. Should I put the loose sex or just the sex?
I think they know what you're talking about.
Oh. Some of them do.
Atmosphere.
Trust me, some of them don't and never will. The sex, the drugs, the music, Jack and Bobby, edible fast food. Now, that was shown. I don't know what he's talking about. What was the edible fast food in the 60s?
In other words, it was actually good in those days as opposed to the way it is today.
It was?
That's their take. I don't know.
No, I'll put it on there just for Sean's sake, but I think it was the same crap we got now. Democrats with balls, that's definitely. Democrats with balls. Free maps at gas stations. Segregation for all you bigots out there, and hippie chicks. Oh, yeah. See, some of these, like, cross over with each other, but nevertheless. So that's what do you miss most about the 60s? And a lot of people say, I wasn't born yet, and then after that, get lost. 10:56 at 560 WQAM. I've been telling you for a while now why you need to shop at 1-800-Mattress, which I've been doing for a long time. Well, now I want to tell you even more. Dial Mattress is proud to carry Sealy Posturepedic, the #1 brand in mattresses in the universe. Call 1-800-Mattress today and you'll get factory direct prices on all Sealy Posturepedics. When you call 1-800-Mattress, you'll get same-day delivery all across South Florida. By calling 1-800-Mattress, you choose from the deepest and widest selection of Sealy bedding, all available for same-day delivery. And don't forget, you still get to pick the date and 2-hour window for delivery to fit your schedule when it's convenient for you. And Dial Mattress is on time 99.7% of the time. Dial Mattress still ranked #1 in customer satisfaction in the world. They were winners of the 2004 Better Business Bureau Local Torch of Excellence Award. All the smart folks are making that call, even some who don't have that bright of a brain either. They're still making the call because they know even those folks are aware that wasting your time at the bedding and department stores is just a tremendous waste of money, too. Call 1-800-Mattress, and as soon as tonight, you'll be sleeping like a baby for years to come. 1-800-MATTRES, or on the wicked web, it's mattress.com.
The Howard Stern Show. Neil Rogers, mornings and middays. And sports around the clock. 560 WQAM.
Bush. Tomorrow.
I'm going to Cracker City, Orlando. I'm going to Cracker City, Orlando. They got a lot of bad congestion there. Where they going? I don't know. Well, they got Disney World and he-she girls. Every corner of Walgreens and hookers on OBG. I'm going to Cracker City, Orlando. They got a lot of bad congestion there. Where they going? Hell, I don't know. Well, now you can take a plane or the bullet train. The bullet train won your vote. So take a ride and don't complain. I'm going to Cracker City, Orlando. Ooh. They got a lot of bad congestion there. Where they going? Hell, I don't know.
Rock solid.
11:02 at 560 WQM. Happy Wednesday to you. You been on that bullet train yet? I hear it's a hoot.
Yeah, man, it was.
The reason I was distracted there in the beginning, I had like a button in the off position, is because I was looking at, I was rebooting and retooting and hooting and hollering and wondering how come that new poll isn't up there yet.
What new poll?
The one that I just got reading about. What do you miss most about the 60s?
I don't know. I don't remember you reading that.
The one that I faxed to Eric last night that I was expecting fully would be on there right now. I don't know. There's just something about this place. We just can't quite seem to be able to get everything in gear. I don't know, to get synchronized. We got this great new piece of equipment now. This thing sounds really sensational, almost like a real thing.
Well, just don't beat on this one.
Well, if you better hope I do if it starts screwing up again. I thought it was just me. Do you have the new poll up on your thing? Because I don't want to be picking on poor Eric if it's only me and I haven't re-clicked.
No, I got my same old poll.
I got the same old poll, and Kerry's still way the hell ahead. I don't get it. At any rate, I'm sure he's working on it feverishly right now. And when he gets done, maybe we'll get the new poll up there. Reports warrant. Now, we probably want to get a few calls in here, right? WQAM, hello. QAM.
Hello.
Yes,
Neil.
sir. How you doing?
I'm about the 60s.
Yeah.
I miss the white athletes, man.
Okay.
Everybody be black.
White athletes. All right, let's get that on there. White athletes. You got it? Well, I know what I'm asking.
Industrial add it to it when it gets up there.
Yeah, just make a list of these that you'll add to if and when Eric ever gets the new poll up there. I'm sure he is very busy now, like Don Corleone, so I will leave you now. WQAM, hello.
Neil.
Yes, sir.
Hey, what's up? What do you think about this ordeal now with teams they're going to start quarterbacking? Aren't these people a trip?
Don't get to the don't count your horses before they catch, okay? Fiedler. We got that way down in my pool. We'll get to Fiedler. We'll get to the Expos. We'll get all of those little sports notes, okay? They're like a footnote to our lives. What do I think about? First of all, I don't understand. I'm not going to get sucked into that, okay? They didn't get a real quarterback, and now they're paying a price for it. Oh, well, guess what? We're going to start Fiedler again this week. He's going to be the solution. I don't give a... They could put Otto Graham in there. They could put Dan Marino back in, John Elway. They could bring back Bart Starr. They could dig up whoever the hell they want. And with that, the rest of that team wouldn't make any difference at all. Am I right?
Yeah.
Yes. See, even George knows it. No more dolphin calls till I give you the signal, okay? The signal will be like that. When you hear that, yeah. WQAM, hello. QAM. Oh, that was Wanstack. Can you hear the way that sounded? A click? That was him. WQAM, hello. QAM, hello.
Hello.
Yes, sir.
Hi, like talking Neil?
Speaking.
Neil, I want to talk about yesterday you brought up George Bush's father. There's a great book about Prescott Bush, autobiography. If you go to Google and put Bush unauthorized biography, can I tell you just a couple of highlights?
No. I read that thing about, and then we had that whole lengthy story about Prescott Bush on our website. It's bad enough that I read all this stuff. We sure don't want people, with all due respect, sir, thank you very much, but the answer is...
No.
See, dolphin time. No, just reports warned of violent post-war Iraq. And again, the media should be screaming about this. All they did was just they touched it very lightly, and then they moved on. Of course, moveon.us. U.S. intelligence agencies warned in two pre-war reports to President Bush and Congress that an invasion of Iraq could increase support for terrorist organizations and lead to a violent post-war occupation, a U.S. official with access to the classified document said yesterday. The reports were prepared by the NIC, the National Intelligence Council, senior intelligence analysts who pool assessments from across the nation's 15 intelligence organizations. American intelligence, I think, is rapidly becoming an oxymoron. The council reports to the CIA director, that's Porter Mishegas now. The official who described the contents of the January 2003 documents insisted on anonymity because they remain classified and he wants to stay alive. Congress, which received the reports at the same time they were presented to the White House early 2003, had authorized Bush in October 2002 to use military force against Saddam Hussein's regime. The same month, the Council produced a controversial National Intelligence estimate that found Iraq had a chemical and biological weapons program and a nuclear weapons program. This August, it reported on the prospects for growing instability in Iraq. Porter Mishegas declined to comment on the latest reports. One focused on near-term risks within Iraq posed by the aftermath of an invasion. The other assessed mid- to long-term potential problems with the Middle East that could be sparked by an invasion and occupation. The primary warning in this report was about unrest among Iraqi factions, not so much violence directed at the occupying force. In fact, the intelligence reports that occupying forces would be needed to suppress civil strife. Oh, how do you like that? No flowers and candy, huh?
Okay, you were just not catching them.
Oh, I see.
By the way, speaking of catching...
There's the new poll up there right now.
Because the audio just went on the internet right now. See,
are you kidding me? So, in other words, somebody there didn't flip the button is what that's all about?
Yes.
Yeah, somebody there didn't do their thing at 10:40 when it was supposed to be done.
No.
Well, this is getting really ponderous. This is another example of how we can't do this show and we keep getting screwed over because we got all these different things that have to be done. And when certain people are in the right mood, they do it. And when they're in the wrong mood, they just don't do it. Well, that's getting really freaking ponderous if you ask me. So that's why Eric couldn't hear it because the internet just went up. Oh, brother. I'm telling you, this show is rapidly becoming like an afterthought on this radio station. I was in such a good mood. We got the engineer in here. He put the piece of equipment in. Everything's coming along just fine. Maybe I'll get that other check today in the mail. Maybe not. But, boy, this is getting really freaking ponderous, man. We're like a stepchild. We're like a prisoner at the whim of whoever they're supposed to be flicking it. And I think they're flicking the wrong thing, if you ask me, and probably a lot. Okay, there's the poll on there. What do you want, Miss Mo? Okay, that's it. Wasn't born yet, 4. All right. Here's a fax from Vernon. I'm so depressed that you told me that we just went online.
Oh, you know, because we know Eric was
only
there.
A half hour after we started.
You know, I type in the little thing, hey, where are you? How come you haven't changed the poll? And it's like, is Stern over? And he had no idea.
How do you like that? Vernon says, just 2 things I'd like to bring up. 2 things. Why does he say that twice? Well, it's 2 things. Number 1, I know you don't listen to 103.5 FM, but they have been playing Republican ads which are stating the Democratic Party has been racist and hasn't done anything for Afro-American people. And that it was Abe Lincoln who freed the slaves, and it was his Republican Party who gave the $400 income tax loan. So far, I've heard 4 different ads on that radio station, each one stating a different reason why Afro-Americans should vote now for the Republican Party, saying what the Democrats have done what have the Democrats done for the Afro-Americans lately? Yeah, what have you done for us lately, huh? Number 2, I was watching a talk show last night. There was a Bush supporter on. He basically said that if we don't have a major attack on American soil before the elections, we should vote for George W. Bush because it shows he's doing a good job protecting us. But if we do have an attack on American soil before the election, we should rally around the president and re-elect him for another 4 years. There you go. And maybe if we're thinking about having a terrorist attack, then we definitely ought to vote for Bush, right?
Right. But more importantly...
So Vernon says, I tell you, this country is going to hell in a handcasket. We need all to vote several times.
About 30, man.
For Kerry is what he says. Hell can't get any worse. There you go. How could anybody do any worse? Everywhere you look, the news is bad. It's grim. It's bleak. So let's vote for Bush again. Let's have 4 more years of hell.
Right.
Now, speaking of that, here's a little bit of good news. We don't want to be too negative because we always get accused on the show, Neil is so negative. He's so negative. I got news for you. If you work for this outfit, you might be a little bit negative too, okay? You come in with a big smile on your face, and within a half an hour, your smile has turned to a frown. Looks like you're upside down. New voters flooding election offices. Here's some good news.
A rat.
New voters are flooding local election offices with paperwork, registering in significantly higher numbers than 4 years ago, as attention to the presidential election runs high and an array of activist groups recruit would-be voters who could prove critical come November the 2nd. Cleveland has been seeing nearly twice as many new voters register so far as compared with 2000. Philadelphia is having its biggest boom in new voters in 20 years, and counties are bringing in temporary workers and employees from other agencies to help process all the new registration forms. Nationwide figures aren't available yet, but anecdotal evidence shows an upswing in many places, often urban but some rural. Some wonder whether the new voters, some of whom sign up at the insistence of workers paid by get-out-the-vote organizations, will actually make it to the polls election day, but very few dispute the registration boom. It's booming over there. We're swamped, said Bob Lee, who oversees vote registration in Philadelphia. It seems like everybody in their little group is out there trying to register people. Some examples from interviews with state and county officials across the country. You want some? Well, here they are. New registered voters in Dade County, a crucial Florida county in 2000, grew by 65% through the middle of this month compared with 2000. New registered voters jumped nearly 150% in Cuyahoga County, that's Cleveland, Ohio, one of the most hard-fought states this year. And that's with some time left until registration deadlines fall beginning in October. Curtis Gans at the Committee for the Study of the American Electorate said a clear national picture won't emerge until more applications are processed next month. And Kay Maxwell of the League of Women Voters cautioned that some years that promise a boom in new voters turn out to be duds on Election Day. The danger is that new voters may not be as committed to showing up at the polls as longtime voters. Turning people out to vote is tougher than getting to register, said Doug Lewis, who works with local election officials as the head of the Election Center, a nonprofit group. Rural areas which trend conservative and Republican aren't necessarily reporting the same growth as urban, more liberal and Democratic strongholds. Brazos County, Texas hasn't beaten its 2000 numbers so far, though officials said applications are now rolling in. The state of Oklahoma, however, saw new registrations in July and August increase by 60% compared with 4 years ago. Officials in Oklahoma said they had 16,000 new Republican registrations, 15,000 new Democrats, oh, you better go get them, and 3,500 new independents. In Oregon, where new registrations grew by 4% from January through September 1, Democrats out-registered Republicans 2-1. And by the way, I don't know why it's not on anybody's website, but Supreme Court said that Oregon doesn't have to put Nader on a ballot, and they won't. I just mentioned that. For some strange reason, you see, if you watch The Crawl on CNN or MSNBC, you watch The Crawl and you see, oh, gee, I want to read more about that. Well, guess what? You can't because it ain't there. What is that all about? Well, they don't want to pass too much of the important news along.
You're listening to Neil Rogers exclusively on 560 QAM.
Neil Rogers God.
In a place that feels just like a bad day at the zoo. It's that dressed and dragged, that drink that bring me to, yeah. If you wanna bring the circle and play today, it seems all you gotta do is just have CNN, yeah. Ooh, why it's a Dashwood and it's a Taliban line. Hates girls that don't wear pants, that's a Taliban line. Taliban man won't take her back, got a smelly butt crack filled with sand. I found them through the whole world, so that we can get our feet first. I raise my head like chinchilla, my favorite when I call Kerry. Who's a filthy, sneaky man, it's the Taliban man. Has a butt crack filled with sand, it's the Taliban man. Here's a bomb for the Taliban in Afghanistan.
11:19 at 560 WQM. Happy Wednesday to you. Let's see, the poll is up now, and we have a debate on whether that streaming was going on or not, according to the next facts. Anyway, what do you miss most about the 60s? Wasn't born yet, 27. You know what percentage that is?
About 30, man.
Democrats with balls, 20. The music, 12. Hippie chicks, 10. The sex, 8. White athletes, 4. Jack and Bobby, 4. Won't see them no more. The drugs, 4. Free maps at gas stations, 1. Segregation on edible fast food. None. I have no idea what that means, edible fast food. Although there was Carol's.
Carol's what?
Carol's drive-through.
Okay.
Kind of like an early, before McDonald's or around the same time. Real salty fries. I mean, salty. Anyway, here's the fact. Says, how about a poll suggestion for tomorrow? Who's your favorite grumpy old coot? Like Marlon Brando, Bob Dole, H. Wayne Heisinger, Neil Rogers. And your streaming came on at 10:40 this morning, says this faxer. So now we have a little bit of a dilemma here, right?
Now, what could
Dalai Lima.
Well, my understanding of it is that there's two different things. We shut everything down during the Stern Show, as you know. The streaming is one thing, and then the audio actually coming from these studios, a.k.a. the Neil Rogers Show, that's something that has to happen in addition to the streaming that the station sends out.
Well, what does that mean?
It means bottom line is we could have been streaming, but no one could have been hearing the show.
Huh?
Because when Josh went and told...
Well, then what did he hear? What did he hear at 10:40?
Whatever filler stuff we have in whenever they play breaks and things like that. So we need the faxer to clarify. Did they actually hear the Neil Rogers Show?
Yeah, we need somebody out there who listens online to clarify us. When did the Neil Rogers Show actually come on online this morning? Not that we think Eric might be lying or that he fell back asleep again or never woke up in the first place, but,
His audio, according to him, didn't come on until we sent Josh out to correct the problem. And then, as soon as
who's in charge of that? Who's supposed to throw that swish?
I don't know.
What do you mean by that?
I guess Robert, technically.
Robert Grieper. If we've told him once, we've told him 1,000 times.
He actually said he did it, so I don't...
He did it? Yeah, I don't believe that. He's been saying he did it for years. Nobody believes him.
No, he doesn't have any proof.
No chance. At any rate, I don't get it. I think it's sabotage is what it is. Probably that George Corso or maybe Bob Vermouth is in the building again, Every time he comes in the building. You know what Duff says? Every time corporate shows up, meaning Bob Vermouth, everything falls apart. That's what Duff always says. Observers foresee snags in U.S. election. Uh-oh.
More of your commie lies.
International observers find potential problems loom for U.S. presidential election. Next thing you know, MoveOn.org will be telling you the reason we had all those hurricanes is because of global warming. Stuff like that, says fat-ass governor. He said that with a straight face yesterday, that fat-ass Governor Jeb Bush of yours, that so many of you voted for and, like I said, ought to be whipped for it. Problems loom for the presidential election, including voting equipment changes that could delay the outcome past November 2nd, a group of international observers said Tuesday in the report. Yeah, see, Robert Grieper, if he doesn't get the streaming on in time, that means fewer people are going to hear our left-wing propaganda. And knowing what a self-hating idiot that he is, right, a right-wing piece of crap, that's probably what the whole deal is. I'm just making that up.
We're not streaming, they won't hear you screaming.
Not that we're paranoid, that's right. If we're not streaming, they don't hear Neil screaming.
Screamer.
Right, that's me. Grumpy old coot. I like that poll, that's good.
That is a good idea.
5-member team from the Organization for Security and Cooperation in Europe, a 55-state security group invited by the Bush administration, also pointed to problems with voter registration lists and provisional and absentee ballots, allegations of voter intimidation, and slow implementation of the Help America Vote Act. Like the Beatles said, we need help, baby, help. In general, the nationwide replacement of voting equipment inspired by the disputes witnessed during the 2000 elections, primarily in Florida, may potentially become a source of even greater controversy during the forthcoming elections, said the 11-page report. And maybe somebody's going to call in and tell us if we were streaming or not. I bet you Line 9 knows the answer. QAM, hello.
Yes, that was Orrin Hatch that said that quote about if you vote for Bush, if we get attacked or if we don't get attacked. So that was one of the most craziest things I've ever heard.
Yeah, and you know one thing about Orrin Hatch, he's a Mormon without the second M.
Exactly. And one thing Eric could do is he could maybe listen to the Orlando Stern station, which I think is 105.9 O-Rock. And
yeah, well, he don't want to listen to that. He don't want to hear that.
Okay. And, can I get a request for the retarded men's choir sings Green Onions, which I'm so sad that wasn't on that list of the...
No problem, Pally. Well, we missed a lot of them. That's why I played Taliban Man today and Take Your God and Shove It. You got it, man.
So much stuff. It's unbelievable. And anybody doesn't like that scrum. So take it easy, man.
Say goodbye. See you.
Bye-bye.
There's a good call from Orlando. How do you like that? Oh. Yeah, don't be picking on Orlando, Boca Brian.
Nah. That is a good idea. That ain't right, good.
What's a good idea? To play retarded Green Onions?
Yeah.
I'm going to Cracker City.
Come on, Brian. Quit picking on Orlando.
Oh! No, that Eric can monitor the local station.
Split up with his boyfriend or what? No, actually what can happen is like in the little chat box that you and Eric communicate with each morning, you can always say, just give him like a little heads up. Oh, Stern just ended, we're on now. And if he sees that, then he'll know that if he can't hear it, that something is wrong. And we can send somebody in to beat the crap out of Robert Grieper.
Okay, we'll do that.
We can send in one of the Freepers to beat the crap out of Grieper. What do you say?
Is Josh chewing tobacco today?
Are you chewing tobacco?
I definitely am not.
All right.
That is the most disgusting thing. I'll tell you one thing. If he comes in there and spits at you, you'll know.
He's spitting in the cup, so I was wondering.
Maybe he's got one of those tests coming up. Maybe the Marlin organization wants to know if they want to bring him back next season to work on those games with Dave Van Boring. Maybe he has to take a spittle test. Or maybe Josh Beckett's got something to do with it. Anyway, if I can get back to this very important story, it says many of the new touchscreen machines that will be used by up to 50 million voters on November 2 do not produce the paper ballots needed for a manual recount of the votes, which is why, Bobby Wexler is suing, and why they finally said the courts better listen to it, because it's outrageous. This may cause post-election disputes and litigation, potentially delaying the announcement of final results. Not again. There's Fredo sitting on that curb, rocking back and forth with his head in his hands. Again. Yeah. We don't dash and go through that crap again. I'm telling you that right now, which is why all you anti-Bush people, you notice I'm not saying why all you pro-Kerry people, forget about that. That's hopeless. All you anti-Bush people better go out there and vote for Kerry several times. I mean, a zillion times. Get dead people to vote. Get illegal alien people to send in their votes in little bottles on their rubber rafts. Anything you can. So that we don't have to be subjected to another 4 years of embarrassment, humiliation, and death all around the world. So that people don't hate America just like poison. If ever that expression came into play, man, they hate us like poison, now is the time.
Yeah.
On 9/12/2001, the day after 9/11, they all loved us. They felt for us. They even the commie pinkos in China, everybody, they loved us. But now there's too much ill will, and we're not talking North Korea either, baby. I think we got to blow up Pakistan and then Saudi Arabia. By the way, $50.10 a barrel for oil. Not good news. 26 and thank you, Mr. President, for those low gas prices. 26 after 11 at 560 WQAM. Guaranteed mortgage bankers are prepared to help you meet all your financing needs. If you're a first-time home buyer or refinancing and taking cash out, they're definitely your best choice. Guaranteed mortgage bankers are committed to excellent customer service, and this is not only their promise, it's their guarantee. Call them today at their toll-free number, 1-800-734-6616. At Guaranteed Mortgage Bankers, their goal is to build a lifelong relationship with their customers. They did just that with a couple who moved down from New Jersey. Hadn't started their new jobs yet, but found a house they loved. The couple hadn't lived in South Florida for more than a week, had very little money to put down, wanted to close in just 10 days, and Guaranteed Mortgage Brokers was able to secure the buyer's needs in order to close on time. They were able to get them 95% financing at an unbelievable rate. Let me say it again.
Unbelievable.
Of just 5.95%. And listen to this. Guaranteed Mortgage Bankers sends all of its clients on a fabulous 7-night cruise. It's their way of saying thank you for choosing them. Guaranteed Mortgage Bankers, no loan is too big or too small, whether you have bad credit, good credit, no credit. They'll work with you to get you the loan you're looking for. Guaranteed Mortgage Bankers, call them right now, 1-800-734-6616. That's 1-800-734-6616.
Listening to Neil Rogers exclusively. 560 QAM.
Citizens will perform their rendition of Green Onions. Don't make fun. They work very hard for this.
$11:31, 29 till noon. What's the schedule look like today? Same old stuff, thank goodness. Mad Dog at 2, the Hopper at 4, 6:30 Marlins on deck, and the Marlins look to sweep the Expos, formerly the Montreal Expos, soon to be the DC something. 7:05 tonight, Eddie K after the baseball game. Yeah, the Expos are moving to DC. Is that a surprise? No. Big story, though. Big surprise. More faxes that all say the same thing. You were on the Internet immediately after Howard Stern today, which means 10:40 this morning or thereabouts. Right. Also, Jeff says, I listen online every day today. You came on about 10:40. Right. Not about 30, man. Not 20, but 10:40. Not 50, but 10:40. That was not exactly what we thought?
That's what we thought.
So I think Eric is full of crap. I beg your pardon?
It must be on his end, whatever technical glitch.
Yeah, there's something on his end, all right, about 120 pounds of fat. That's what's on his end. Man, what is going on with that child? You know, I mean, you could admit to us that you slept in or whatever. It wouldn't be the first time.
No, he was in the chat room.
Yeah. Well, maybe he was like chat walking. I think he was doing something that rhymed with chat that we can't say on air, and you better not. At any rate.
I'm thinking it, though.
Speaking of that, Fiedler to start against the Jets. How do you like that?
Oh, my God.
Oh, what a bunch of chat. The Dolphins will start Jay Fiedler at quarterback in place of A.J. Touchy-Feely Sunday against the visiting New York Jets. 2 NFL sources said yesterday, like it's a big surprise. The Dolphins are in need of a steadier performance at the position, with Feely throwing 5 interceptions in the 10 quarters he's played after replacing Fiedler at halftime of the season-opening loss to Tennessee because they didn't have any bagels in Tennessee. And Jay was porked off about it. Fiedler, who has a 35-17 record as a starter since joining the Dolphins in 2000, that's 35-17, held a preseason challenge from Feely off, but was yanked after throwing 2 interceptions in the first half against Tennessee. The Dolphins enter Sunday's game with the NFL's 31st ranked offense, and they are 0-3. You can't get much more offensive than that. They are 0-3. So now they stick poor Jay Fiedler in there again, throwing him to the Wolves again, throwing him into the Lions' den. And he's got a Chinaman's chance, is what I would tell you. Anyway, Major League Baseball to move the Expos to Washington. Does anybody care?
No.
Do the people in Montreal care?
No.
Do all those nobody lives in Washington anyway. Do they care?
No.
Major League Baseball announced today that Washington will be the new home of the Montreal Expos. They had over 5,000 listed in the box score last night, Josh.
That's the big time.
Big improvement over the 3,200 from the night before. It must be because they're running out of time. Won't be long before the last game is played in Montreal. Do they have another home series, or was that it?
Who knows?
And who cares? A city, let's see, bring back baseball to Washington for the first time in 33 years since those nasty Washington Senators. See, this poll that we're taking today, I'm not sure we want to leave that thing up there. Maybe we ought to take a poll on A.J. Feely and Touchy-Feely. Huh?
Okay.
I thought looking at it might be good. See, only 28.6% say they weren't born yet. Well, that's not our audience, okay? If only 28% of our audience wasn't born in the 60s, then all the rest of our audience is gone, or else we just don't have any. All old farts like me, old crows. Don't you understand? Like 69 is 35 years ago.
Right.
So even if you were like, let's say you were, 10 years old in 69, that makes you 45 you'd be now, right?
Okay, I'll take your word for it.
Right. So that means that 75% of the audience is over 45? I don't think so. Well, who knows? Who cares? Maybe the poll will be just fine. Anyway, getting back to the important thing, Montreal moving to Washington. The city is planning its own news conference at a downtown Washington location, hoping that they won't get mugged. I think we'll be in a position where we can have a celebration tomorrow. Mayor Anthony Williams told WUSA-TV yesterday. The announcement will come a day before the 33rd anniversary of the Washington Senators' final game. How's Harmon Killebrew doing? How's some of the old Washington Senators? Come on, you know him, Josh.
Oh, yeah.
Huh? Gus Zernial. No, he played for the Kansas City A's, I think. Gus Zernial. Harmon Killebrew, and you're going to say, well, he played for the Minnesota Twins, but before the Minnesota Twins were the Minnesota Twins, what were they? The Washington Senators. There you go. Boy, did they suck. The Senators moved to Texas after the 71 season, which is also the last time a Major League team changed cities. Next, you're going to be talking about people like Norm Siebert and Jerry Lumpy. Wouldn't you be kind of embarrassed if your name was Jerry Lumpy?
Yeah, I'd change it.
You'd sure be taking your
Dumpy
lumps and your dumps. Baseball's been looking for a new home for the Expos, and that goes on and on. We don't care about the Expos, about the Washington Senators. All we know is the Marlins kind of like sucked wind there the last couple of weeks after they gave everybody a little bit of a thrill there for a while. It wasn't all that bad. They gave it their best shot, right? Yeah. Don't be picking on the poor Marlins. Yeah, well, you're going to say, yeah, oh, yeah, they're great. You know, what a great organization. You're going to say that because you're just sucking up again for next season.
Hey, they're the reigning world champions.
Yeah, it's raining all right. Anyway, what do you miss most about the 60s? 201 votes. Hey, that's pretty good, considering Eric didn't get this damn thing up there till after 11 o'clock. Hey, we understand, Eric. You're under a lot of stress and pressure. Don't lie to us, though. We know you're full of crap. Can't you just hear the... Have you had a call from Eric, by the way?
I had a line in the chat window.
I want to hear it myself. Whoa!
He didn't say that.
What did he say? Something you can't say?
No. He's like, okay, I just made it all up.
Well, I'm glad he admitted that. Whoa! Poor Eric, man. They're going to have him in a rubber room by 12:30, guaranteed. Better be a big one. Wasn't born yet, 56, 27.8%. See, I think a lot of people are voting on some of these other, like the music, for example. You don't have to have been born in the 60s to love the music,
That
right?
is correct. Right.
The music, like Motown and the Beatles and the Beach Boys.
The Stones.
Right. See, with George, it always comes back to something Stone. How's that barbershop doing over there around the corner next to Chuck's?
You know, I finally noticed where that is.
Yeah.
Somebody pointed it out to me.
Yeah, they'll give you a real good Haitian haircut in there.
Really?
Wasn't born yet, 56.
What is
Democrats with balls, 38. The music, 29. Only 29. The hippie chicks, 21. The sex, 21, which I see hippie chicks and the sex, like little spill over there, so to speak. White athletes, 12. Jack and Bobby, 10. The drugs, 10. Segregation, 3. Free maps at gas stations, 1. Edible fast food. Hey, Sean, I hate to break the news to you, but it's still got the big. I don't know what that means. And neither does he, I'm sure. Edible fast food. When was there ever any edible fast food? I mean, that doesn't mean that it didn't taste good. It tasted just as good. That was the same. When did Wendy's start? When did Dave Thomas start poisoning people? I mean,
in my lifetime, if that's a clue.
Yeah. Not in the 60s, though. When did it go around the 60s?
Like
McDonald's was.
Late 70s, I want to say.
And that was a real crock. And you had Carol's, like I said. And we had, I don't know about Burger King. Were they around in the 60s or not? Huh?
We could Google it.
There was always Burger Queen. Remember her? Him?
No.
Yeah, you do. We've talked about this a million times. I don't want to get off on food again. God, I don't want to start with that crap.
You always get off on food.
But anyway, when it was 75. I know that because it was the old Burger Queen in West Palm Beach, and it was a place where you had your own fixin' bar. And you get your burger, kind of like what they do at Fuddpuckers, if I can I say that?
No.
Kind of what they do at Fuddpuckers. Yeah. Where you go in and you get your burger.
That sounded really good.
I don't care what it sounded like. I know for sure there was nothing bad that got on there. It just was pretty obvious where I was coming from, okay? Good. It must be this new piece of equipment. I better be careful now. Because everything is so crystal clear. But Burger Queen used to, put your own, go to the thing and put on your own onions and ketchup and mouse turd and relish and stuff like that. Well, it was okay. Never heard of Burger Queen?
No.
Anyway, we'll find out about those things. These are the important things. Nobody cares about no election and about people dying and about people getting sucked into a war based on a bunch of lies and about all these intelligence reports that warned them about this and that warned them about that and said there's going to be nothing but chaos over there. And he comes up with this line about, maybe they were just guessing. And then he had to come out and say, well, I used the wrong word. Maybe they were just estimating. Yeah. Maybe they were just guessing. The same intelligence experts that told them about those weapons of mass destruction. Right, they're just guessing. WQAM, hello.
Hey, Neil, how about Frank Howard? Frank Mo Howard David.
Frank Howard, remember him well. He was a giant in his own time. A huge, yeah.
Yeah, Washington Senators. Remember, there was only 12 teams in baseball. Those were the days.
Those were the days, baby. You bet.
You can't go back, though, Neil.
And let me ask you, you think, was Bob Grimm?
Was Bob Wire, Pete Moss?
There you go. And what does the Don know? What does the Don know? Anyway, boy, let's talk some baseball. What do you say? And then we'll go into a hockey thing. Oh, speaking of that.
Yeah.
I just in the one of the morning papers now that because I know nobody in South Florida is going to hear anything about hockey. There is a guy who started an organization. It's called a website. It's as the big O would say, www.fansfightback.com. He's got about 1,000 signatures. Wants to collect 200,000 from pissed off hockey fans who want to spew at Gary Bettman and Bob Goodenow at the players and the owners and say we're pissed off and we're not going to take it anymore. It's www.fansfightback.com.
You're listening to Neil Rogers
for 5 hockey fans
exclusively on 560 man QAM.
Airlines Flight 69 to Paradise and see you next time.
Thank you. Enjoy your Hey, Bob. Yeah. You mind making it a little snappy here? I'm going to miss my flight. It's you. What do you want I should do? Remove your shoe. Okay. With airport security? This is embarrassing, Dave. Now remove your bag. Well, it's your funeral, pal. Pardon my bag. But did you say bag? Yes. You one moment, please. Stand right now. Now, see here. I'm standing here with no pants. Do you know who I am?
Sir, are you Moby David?
That's right. Star Estate Screen and Salad Bar Theater.
We're from the Homeland Security Office. I'm afraid we can't let you board that plane. You made the terrorist watch list.
Good. Now, see here, you Nazi maroon. Will you get off calling me a terrorist?
It's all right here.
Let me see that list. Ted Kennedy, Cat Stevens, E. Arthur, Orva Vidal, Sassoon, John Lennon, and Moby. You coming to me? Come on! Hey! Come on, make way. Come on, quickly. Here's my $20. Hey, you! Tell that pilot to step on it.
Say, Mo!
Celtic, what are you doing here?
I'm the one who put you on the list.
Why, you no good son of a yid.
Yeah, but I feel bad about that. So I'm going to help you out of here. There's an escape door in the back of the plane.
All right. Out of my way. Have none. Women, children, and both boys. Open that door.
Yeah, but there's no...
I said open that door.
It's 11:47, 13 till noon at 560 WQM. Speaking of that, a man's been arrested after attacking 2 pilots and a passenger with an axe on an internal flight in Norway. The pilots managed to bring the plane to land safely and then were taken to the hospital with the injured passenger. A police prosecutor said the attacker may have boarded with the axe. Earlier it was thought he may have taken it from the plane's emergency equipment. The plane was on a 20-minute flight between the northern towns of Narvik and Bodø when the attack took place. There were no security controls at Narvik Airport today when the plane took off. Bodø prosecutor Bjarte Walla told the BBC News Online, Norway is due to install improved security measures for internal flights by 2005, after the new year. So in the meantime, if you want to attack a plane, go to Norway. Don't bother us. Here's a good choice for the pool. I like that. Cheap gas.
All right.
In fact, I remember when we used to have gas wars during the 60s. And in Canandaigua, and you know who's still calling the races at Finger Lakes Racetrack? Ross Morton. What a perfect place for him. What an ego. What a lack of talent. Ross Morton. Yeah? Well, I hope he's not still doing Gulfstream. I don't know. Ross Morton, a man who's got an ego the size... I mean, he makes Mo look like Mr. Modesty. Cheap gas. You got that on there?
I got it on there.
We used to have gas wars. At one time, they had gas for 10 cents a gallon. The people were lined up like 80 zillion miles deep. Finger Lakes Racetrack with the obnoxious Ross Morton. The only worse race caller than him in America is, what's the guy's name from Churchill Downs used to be? Mike Battaglia.
Who?
For the lead. For the lead. Mike Battaglia. He is absolutely the worst race caller. Don't let me forget in May when Dave Johnson calls for the Derby to invite him to rip Mike Battaglia and Ross Morton. Ross sounds like he's got 40 pounds of elephant droppings. At any rate, Wendy, somebody faxes us the whole thing about Dave Thomas.
I printed it up and found it.
Oh, you did?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'll be damned. And, of course, I told you I saw the Dave Thomas biography on the Biography Channel a few weeks ago, and lo and behold, I should have probably known this. He got those franchises from the Colonel, his Kentucky Fried franchises, and made millions from that. And then in 1968, he was 35 years old, a millionaire. He had sold the restaurants back to the corporate Kentucky Fried Chicken. The following year, after years of hard work and perseverance, Dave's lifelong dream came true when he opened his very first Wendy's old-fashioned hamburger restaurant in Columbus, Ohio. Long before the Rimmers moved there and started terrorizing the community. The name was his youngest daughter's nickname. Her real name was Melinda Lou, but older siblings called her Wendy. How do you like that?
Yep.
Let's see. For the poll, a real free press that served the public interest. Well, do we want to say? How do we say that?
I don't know.
How about just a real free press?
All right.
Okay. That would be good. I think they'll understand a real free press that wasn't intimidated and wasn't like goose-stepping in the line like they are now, or else.
Or bought off.
Or paid off, or threatened with fines and stuff, and booby traps. Here's somebody who says, I worked at Burger King on East Sunrise Boulevard near Gateway in 1964. It was BK number 5. How do you like that? 1964.
How about that?
Well, that's good to know these things. Now, Wendy's we do like a lot. Okay, I don't want to keep going back into this stuff again with the fast food. We're always talking about food. I'm tired of it, man. I'm tired of being fat. I'm tired of eating stuff and especially stuff like that. If you're gonna cheat, eat something really good, like like a quart of Nestle's Turtle, a little more than a quart. Now, wait till you hear this. I don't want people to get nervous about this, but networks balk at Bush-Kerry debate agreement. And, of course, this whole thing with these debates, I very rarely agree with anything that Lou Dobbs says on the Certainly Nazi Network. But last night he made a good point, and only because he had some guy in there that he was sucking up to who said that these aren't really debates. But he said they're not really debates. And you know what? I kind of thinking to myself,
absolutely correct, sir.
They're not. And again, the Kerry people get sucked in because they're always on bended knee. Oh, yeah, whatever you say, Master, whatever you say. Instead of saying, hey, listen, this is the way we're going to do it. And, of course, the Bush people were saying, well, if you don't want to do it our way, we don't want to have any debates at all, because that's what they really would prefer.
Right.
I mean, they got about a 6 to an 8-point lead right now, and just about all of the polls, even the Pew poll, it stinks. That's why they call it the Pew poll. It smells bad. There's a rancid, smells kind of like that brie cheese. Oh, why is it that people eat brie cheese? Oh, man.
What? I like brie.
You do?
Depends on what you get. Like, if it's really runny, that's nasty.
Ooh,
you get some good
nasty, like
cheese.
snot.
Yeah.
They call it cheese, but it's not.
You got to get some good firm brie.
Although the Bush and Kerry camps have meticulously crafted an agreement on the rules for this year's presidential debates, the TV networks broadcasting them refuse to go along with the plans. Well, all we can say about that is,
all right.
Good. Specifically, the networks object to provisions in the agreement that place limits on their cameras, including prohibitions on shots of one candidate while the other one is answering questions. Because of journalistic standards, oh, what a joke that is, we're not going to follow outside restrictions, said Paul Schur, a spokesman for Fox Nazi News, which is manning the pool camera for the first debate Thursday in the Gables. This is a news pool, and we're not subject to agreements between candidates, NBC News spokeswoman Barbara Levin said. We'll use pictures as we see fit. Any damn way we want, said Barbara. You go, Babs. You go, bitch. CNN spokesman Matthew Furman said the network reserves the right to make our own decisions about coverage during the debate, just as we always have. And if they don't like it, well, your mama. ABC News and CBS News are also objecting to the limits, with a CBS spokeswoman insisting that we will utilize any shots the pool makes available. How do you like that?
Okay.
Also, at least 2 of the TV journalists chosen to moderate the debates, ABC's Charles Gibson, who's as boring as a turd, and CBS's Bob Schieffer, who's 145 years old, have not signed the agreement on ground rules hammered out between the two campaigns, according to their networks. And by the way, Bob Schieffer is a big baseball fan and was a big Texas Rangers song and dance, and was sucking up to Bush back when he was in Texas and owned the Rangers and then was governor. I just mentioned that in passing. The other 2 moderates are Gwen Ifill and Jim Lehrer, both of PBS, or Jim Lehrer as he calls it, which has not yet commented. Under terms of the agreement reached last week between the Bush-Kerry campaigns after lengthy negotiations, moderators who refuse to sign the document can be replaced. I say, let's, who didn't want to sign it? Charles Gibson and Bob Schieffer. Let's replace Bob Schieffer with Dan Rather.
Oh!
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right. And let's replace Charles Gibson with Michael Moore.
Oh!
Now we're talking. The 32-page agreement sets out the rules for the debates with great specificity down to details such as the temperature of the hall, what kind of paper can be used to take notes, who can stand in the wings, and just how deep that tan is going to be on Kerry's puss. I mean, you talk about ridiculous. One day he's pasty like Casper the Ghost, and next day all of a sudden he's got this deep tan like he's been in a tanning salon like all night overnight, like he's been fried. Monday, the Commission on Presidential Debates, the independent group that plays host of the debates, said it would agree to enforce the rules reached in the agreement between the Bush and Kerry campaigns. There will be no departure from the terms unless there is prior... I wouldn't be surprised if they just, chased him right off the stage. Guess what? We canceled it. How do you like that? And it goes on and on about this one wants to do this, and this one wants to do that. And, of course, they don't want to show Kerry sweating because I guess he sweats a lot. And, of course, Bush is so used to lying, he don't break a sweat at all. Oh, speaking of that, what a segue, man. I'm telling you, I'm just falling into it. Maybe we've turned the corner with this new piece of equipment this morning, and although Eric lied to us like crazy. Hey, he's got a problem on his end, okay? I sure hope it's not a tumor. Bush's bald-faced lie, writes Doug Thompson. This guy's great, the founder and publisher of Capitol Hill Blue, which I keep telling you is a great website, and you don't believe me?
Well, you lie a lot.
Many of the fine stories on our website are from Capitol Hill Blue, okay? Anyway, Doug Thompson writes, Bush's bald-faced lie. Just when we thought it was safe to talk politics without getting mired in Vietnam all over again, President George W. Bush has to stir the pot with a bald-faced lie over whether or not he received special treatment during his service in the Texas Air National Guard. No, I don't. I'm not aware of it, Bush told Fox News show talk host Bill O'Reilly Tuesday when asked whether family connections had helped him get a coveted place in the Guard. Jesus H. Christ, W. Everybody knows the former Speaker of the Texas House used his influence to get you bumped to the head of the line to get into the Guard and avoid going to Vietnam. If you didn't have the balls enough to fight in a war, at least show enough cojones to admit you avoided it. Had my unit been called up for a tour in Vietnam, I'd have gone, Bush told O'Reilly with a straight face. Yeah, right, and there would have been pork in the treetops by morning, too. Like most Americans, I was ready to pull the questions about what Bush did or did not do in the Guard behind us and move on to the real issues that should dominate campaign 2004, but nobody with an IQ above that of a 2-minute egg can possibly believe that Bush thinks he was treated just like any other kid who wanted to get in the Guard to save his ass. That young Bush, then son of a U.S. congressman, got bumped to the head of the waiting list for the Guard is a long-established fact. For him to claim he didn't get any favors is a threat to the intelligence of even the most brain-dead American voter. I fulfilled my duty and was honorably discharged. I think I had about 570 flying hours, and I was on active duty for a little over a year and a half, and I proudly served, Bush said, again with a straight face. I did exactly what my commanders told me to do. Excuse me, but the jury's still out on that one. The records released in fits and spurts from the Pentagon and White House still have a lot of gaps in them. Thanks to CBS News and their monumental foobar of using a dubious memo in their story on Bush's Guard service, we may never know what he did in the Guard, when he did it, or when he avoided it. Bush's entire campaign strategy is built around his so-called image as a strong leader, a man's man who can stand up to the evils of terrorism. But if he is such a testosterone-filled alpha male, why can't he own up to the fact that his daddy's buddies kept him out of harm's way with a cushy spot in the Texas Air Guard? Others did it, a lot of others. The former Texas Speaker has apologized not only for helping young Bush avoid Vietnam, but for helping other sons of rich Texans as well. During Vietnam, all Guard units had long waiting lists, and getting it off took every connection a powerful parent could exploit. George Herbert Walker Bush was a powerful man in Texas in those days, a congressman who would go on to serve as an ambassador, head of the CIA, and even president. So he had a family friend call up another powerful friend and pull strings. It happened. Most everyone who uses their brain for something other than a receiving station for Republican propaganda knows it happened, and the President of the United States is a liar for claiming it didn't.
You're listening to Neil Rogers. On 560 QAM. This is Mark Morgan. It's the 12 to 1 hour on QAM.
That was the dump lady during this morning's Stern Show. A little inside info.
I read the evening news, I do, on CBS most every night. But now there's strife because of a report I read the other night. My name is Dan Rather. Somebody called me up and took my time. He said, I've got some dirt on Bush. And I said, fine. Imagine how it's gonna change some voters' minds because I'm Dan Rather. I don't think that George Bush is telling the truth about his life. When you watch me, I'll be providing the proof. He's telling lies. Me and Bush and me. No matter if those documents are forgeries. If one of us has gotta go, it won't be me. Because I'm Dan Rather, the CBS anchor. Yes, I am Dan Rather, the right wing sinner lather. Because I'm Dan Rather. Just ignore all their blather, because I'm Dan Rather.
1203 at 560 WQM, and Eric wants to say something to Robert Grieper.
I apologize.
Yeah. Don't you think he should apologize to Robert? I mean, Robert gets picked on enough, and usually deservedly so, and always deservedly so, and probably not enough. But
yeah,
in this particular case, Eric was full of crap. Did we ever get a clarification as to what's going on?
No.
I mean, haven't we had enough tourists the last couple of weeks?
Can there really be enough?
Huh? Enough already, okay? Just calm down, Eric. Quit making excuses. Don't forget, join George and Boca Bryan 5 to 7 this afternoon.
Maybe.
What?
Well, it might be Miguel if he ever gets out of those meetings.
Like I said, join George and Boca Bryan 5 to 7 at happy hour at Treasure Island this afternoon, located off the Palmetto, just north of the 122nd Street exit. Stop by for our very, very embarrassing prizes, but check out this week's feature. Stephanie Evans and her ping pong balls. Or just enter
golf balls.
5670560. Does she also do golf balls?
Yes, she does.
Oh, I didn't know that. How about bowling balls?
Working on that
next week. She's working on up to it. Then watermelon.
Baby steps. Oranges
I
first.
see. Pound 560 on the Verizon Singular Wireless line. 5670560. WQAM, hello. Not there. QAM, hello.
Hello?
Yes, sir.
Yes, you're talking to the program?
Yeah, you're talking to the program, right.
Okay.
You want to talk to the program?
Yeah, I want to talk to Neil.
Okay. Hello.
Hello, Neil.
Yes, sir.
I just want to say something. They say Kerry's a flip-flopper because when he finds out something is wrong, he changes his mind. But the President Bush is a hammerhead, because he do something wrong and he cannot say, I'm sorry, I make a mistake and I change my mind.
Hey,
now
this president don't make mistakes, mister. I'll tell you that right now.
No, but
he's the Rick Weaver of politics. He don't make no mistakes.
Well, you don't think that in Iraq is a mistake?
Amen. Ask the 1,000 dead people if it was a mistake or not, Pally. I don't think Iraq was a mistake. Is there any doubt that Iraq was a mistake?
No.
That it was not just a mistake, that it was based on a pack of lies? What does it take you people to get it to sink in already? Let me say it again. 40% of Americans still think that Saddam Hussein had something to do with 9/11. Guess what? It was wrong when they thought it the first time. It was wrong when they thought it yesterday. 2 weeks from Sukkot, it'll still be wrong. Wake up and get the facts already, for crying out loud. You don't have to be a rocket scientist. You don't have to forget about the football season unless you're a Dolphin fan, which they're doing you a favor. You don't have to forget about the hockey season because it's already not going to happen anyway. But get a brain, just at least for 5 minutes. Open up your mind. Forget about stupid stuff like hockey games. Well, look at that. Road Hockey Day in Kitchener, Ontario, eh? See, these people, they'll never forget about it. It's like a sickness, man. It's in their blood. They can't get rid of it. But if I'm going to have a sickness, I'd rather have the hockey be the sickness as opposed to like killing violence and bloodshed all over the world, spreading evil and hate, as opposed to spending all of that money and all that effort again going against the real terrorists. So it's just like they keep saying. Chris Matthews said last night, invading Iraq after 9/11 would be like Roosevelt invading Australia after Pearl Harbor. It just somehow, somewhere along the line, it didn't just quite make any sense. It would have been easy pickings, but nevertheless, the Brits probably wouldn't have been too happy about it back then. Whatever happened to that British Empire, anyway?
It went the way of all of them.
Yeah, but they still got Las Malvinas. WQAM, hello. WQAM, hello. Put it back in your pants, Gildy. WQAM, hello. Not there. QAM, hello. Going once. Hey, we don't have time to fart around here today, okay? We're just even to fart. 5670560, pound 560. I want to get a few calls in here, man. I don't know why, but I just need to. I got a big pile, but nevertheless. WQAM, hello.
Hi, can I speak to Neil?
Speaking.
Neil, I just wanted to call and tell you that I think you are the greatest announcer. I used to listen to Howard Stern since I was growing up. My brother's gay, and he said, you got to listen to this guy, Neil Rogers, and I started listening to you 2 days before you couldn't make the fart sounds anymore. And I just want to let you know that you're doing a great job, and you are the best.
Okay, thanks a lot, Pally, and tell your brother help is on the way. Well, why do we care if his brother is gay? What did that have to do with anything?
I don't know.
Huh?
How about your brother?
Oh.
Blaming.
WQAM, hello.
Hello?
Yes, ma'am.
Is this WQAM?
This is Neil Rogers speaking, yes.
Oh, yes. How are you?
I'm
we were
good.
talking about what we remember about the 60s.
Right.
All right. What I remember is John F. Kennedy.
Well, he's on there, John and Bobby.
Oh, they are?
Uh-huh.
I'm sorry. I just tuned in.
Well, don't be sorry.
I'm not sorry. I'm just sorry about what happened.
Yeah, me too. That was the turning point. That's when we lost it.
Yeah, things changed in America
Mm-hmm.
after the assassination of John F. Kennedy.
Yep. John and Bobby Kennedy, Martin Luther King. After the 60s, that was the end. America's gone. It's lost.
No, it's not lost. I still have faith in my country.
Do you?
Yes, I do.
Well, with the present leadership, that's
well, we'll have a chance to change it in November.
Oh, please say that's going to happen.
I think it will be, because I think that the Bushes are overconfident.
Okay.
Okay, nice speaking to you.
Don't forget, have some of your dead relatives vote, too, just to make sure.
No, I'm too honest for that.
Good luck to us. Okay, see, that's the problem. She's too honest for that. We don't want honest people. We want dishonest people. If you're going to run against liars and gypsies, tramps, and thieves, you got to be just as dishonest as they are, is what I'm saying. That's why I don't care what anybody says. This just happens to be one schmuck's opinion, okay? We need Howard Dean. Wouldn't that be something if... I can just see all the preparations, and all of a sudden they show up in the Gables on Thursday night, and they open the curtain up, and instead of John Kerry, out walks Howard Dean. Surprise!
Yeah, except it would be Bush screaming.
Oh, brother. Can you imagine that? Karl Rove would be taking a gigantic load in his pants, man. It would be unbelievable. Wow, wow, wow. But, of course, that ain't going to happen. Just one of those fantasies I have every now and then. WQAM, hello.
In John Kerry.
WQAM, hello. QAM.
Hello?
Yes, your guttural sound station.
Hey, Neil, how you doing, sir?
All right.
I'm going to vote at least 5 times, buddy.
Yeah.
This bozo has got to go, man.
Bozo got to go. Okay, thank you. Good one. WQAM, hello.
Hey, Neil.
Yes, sir.
I remember back in the 60s, there used to be...
Oh, it's Reverend Jones. Okay, doing a really bad phony voice. I prefer the other one. It's a lot easier to detect immediately. Mm-hmm. Line 9, WQAM, hello.
Neil.
Yes, sir.
Hi.
Hi.
Long-time listener of you, first-time caller. I used to listen to you since I was in high school.
Since you were a child, of course, 100 years ago. Right now we're old farts.
Okay. Neil, question. I know you guys are not allowed to play any fart noises anymore.
Absolutely not.
How come in TV and cartoons they do play fart noises?
Because they don't have Joyce over in Naples dictating what they can do and what they can play, and she's just a cranky old fart herself.
Oh, okay.
She's the only fart that's allowed in the Beasley Company, and she's the cranky old fart.
Because the other day I was watching cartoons with my 2-year-old kid, and I hear the cartoons farting themselves. I'm like, how come it's not offensive to them, you know?
Yeah, call up Naples. Call up the Beasley Company in Naples and ask them.
Okay, Neil, you're doing a great job, and I appreciate you guys.
Okay, thanks a lot, Pally.
Take care, bye.
And don't play too many of those fart sounds for your kids, man. They'll turn their brains to jello, and then Bill Cosby will show up at the door, and he'll start picking on black folks. That'll be the next deal. Anyway, here's the poll. I guess it's okay, huh? I thought it was a good poll when I first looked at it.
Fine.
I don't know. What do you miss most about the 60s? Wasn't born yet. 96, 26.7%. Which I think a lot of the people are. 359 votes. Democrats with balls, 59. The music, 58. Now we're talking. The great music of the 60s. I'm going to play a whole bunch of it, not. What do you say? After I finish talking about hockey, kick it. After we do a hockey show with Rimmer, then we're going to play some 60s music. Especially Question Mark and the Mysterians. And maybe a few from the 50s, too, like Frankie Lyman. The music, 59. Why do I keep saying happy chicks? Or like the Dixie Chicks. Hippie Chicks, 36. The Sex, 36. White Athletes, 20. That's athletes. Jack and Bobby, 15. The Drugs, 13. A Real Free Press, 9. The Detroit Free Press don't have any yet. Segregation, 9. Cheap Gas, 8. Free maps to gas stations, 2. Edible Fast Food finally got a pair. And also, I probably should put on there the 50 white people that used to live in Detroit. Now, that's just a joke. Because if I don't say it's just a joke, then, of course, right away Josh will put it on there.
Right.
Because I don't think there ever were 50 white people in Detroit.
About 30, man.
That's more like it.
Oh, man.
12 minutes, yeah, he was there. 12 minutes past noon at 560 WQM. Right now, as I speak, Armstrong Florida Homestead wants to clear their lots and sell off all remaining 04s. And here are just some of the great deals waiting for you. An 04 F-150 pickup, just $1 over invoice. How can you beat that? New 04 Explorer is just $1 over invoice. Rangers, Crown Vics, Tauruses, and Focuses all waiting for you at just $1 over invoice only at Armstrong Ford of Homestead. Plus, Armstrong Ford offers more value to its loyal customers. When you buy your Ford from Armstrong Ford, you'll get their exclusive Tires and Batteries for Life program. That is absolutely correct. Tires and Batteries for Life. And the value you'll get at Armstrong Ford doesn't stop there. Right now, you'll get a free Florida Sun Pass with any vehicle you buy. If you're pressed for time, if you're still trying to put your house back together after the hurricanes, just make one easy call and shop over the phone. 305-247-5112. That's the number to call. 305-247-5112. They'll even deliver your new vehicle right to you at your home, your office, at the massage parlor, wherever you're hanging it out. Armstrong Ford of Homestead, locally owned and operated. They treat you just like family. And I guarantee you, I'll bet you Robert Creeper's life on it. You won't get a better deal on a Ford anywhere. In fact, I'll even throw in Eric, too. No bait and switch, no phony deals. Armstrong Ford of Homestead. They're at 30725 South Dixie Highway, just 20 minutes south of the 836. Check them on the web, armstrongcars.com, and then drive a little and save a ton on that new Ford. Serious cash only at Armstrong Ford of Homestead.
You're listening to Neil Rogers exclusively on 560.
Dumb as dirt.
We have a different point of view. Now we're in turn and our lives are through.
I'm dying over here.
I've been so long. Bye, 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 so long. See you in the shower. See you when they get around to you. Here we are, exaltationally waiting, asphyxiating, when the goblins are spreading. You step in line, but remember, there is danger in what you're seeing on Fox News. When I see you in the shower, here's a tip for you. You won't need a towel. Will come for you. Clean to the centers and kidney juice. Bye bye, I've been so long. Bye bye bye, so long.
I'm dying over here.
1218 at 560 WQAM. 100 evacuated for. Does it sound like I'm eating? I am.
It's all right.
Because, Joyce, if we can't cut the cheese, at least we can eat it during the show. I'm eating some great Asiago cheese.
Careful.
You ever have Asiago cheese?
I'm sure I have.
Oh, man. It's real sharp. It is so good. It's the best cheese on the face of the earth, I do believe.
Ain't no brie.
Oh, yeah. Now, that's not cheese. It's mush.
So you've had the wrong kind.
For suits. I'm surprised that somebody like you, who's not in any position with the $40 a week you're making, to be a sued. But nevertheless, Asiago. Man, this is good stuff. At least one person reported injured this morning after a huge propane tank exploded outside a hotel. Channel 5 in West Palm Beach reported shortly after 11 o'clock this morning. How do you like this for being newsy, huh, man? We're on top of the news.
Wow.
And by the way, Tom Jicka, even from 1,200 miles away, I can be more in touch with what's going on than you and your stupid puff pieces about network TV shows. God, are you boring. The propane tank, which was being used to power at least one generator being at the Crown Plaza Hotel, was dropped by a forklift, fire rescue said. Oh, I hate when that happens. The tank rolled into a running vehicle, which may have sparked a fire that in turn ignited a nearby trash bin. More than 100 people in the 15-story hotel and adjacent 5-story Meyer Company's high-rise were safely evacuated. The buildings are connected by an atrium and are located off Belvedere Road in Australia near Palm Beach International Airport. A witness told the TV station that flames from the explosion and plume of smoke shot well over the top of the hotel. Witnesses said the generator was being used to dry out the Crown Plaza, which was leaking from the heavy rains and winds brought on by Hurricane Jean. You people in Palm Beach, man, I'm telling you, the Lord isn't going to put up with another Teresa Lepore-like performance in this election. It's a warning. It's not punishment. This is just a warning. That's why the Lord keeps pointing these hurricanes right straight smack in your direction. And, of course, his aim is bad. He slops off a little bit into other counties, but he's doing the best he can. He is so pissed off about that damn butterfly ballot and then those Jews for Buchanan, all of that other crap that went on in 2000. Don't think that this is some kind of coincidence, that all these hurricanes happen side by each, right after ass by ass. Right?
Right.
Well, no coincidence. The Lord is passing along a message. You better get with it. Pat Buchanan, my ass. 5670560, pound 560 in the Verizon and Singular wireless lines. I bet you there's somebody out there who remembers Burger Queen.
Bugs Ryan.
Or does he really?
I don't know.
Is he there? He's not there yet.
No. He's in
too early for that child. WQAM, hello.
Hey, Neil, how you doing?
Pretty good.
How much do you think that the Republicans drinking the Kool-Aid is because of their sexual repression and the fact that they're miserable? Which you say all the time about people from South Florida.
Yeah.
How much do you think it's attributed to the fact that these people are so repressed? You know, and obviously they have 90% of their base believes in some fictitious god.
Yes.
How much do you think the misery index counts for their not thinking?
About 30, man.
5670560. That was really excellent. One, I think. See, if you go through one of these calls, man, you get somebody that's got his thumb not just on it, but right in it, just like the little Jack Horner sat on the corner. He stuck his thumb in it.
Yeah.
WQAM, hello.
Just push the damn button, will you, please?
Well, what movie was that from? That was Jack Lemmon, I think. Didn't it sound like Jack?
Yes, it was. Lemon Jack.
Okay. WQAM, hello. QAM.
Hey, talk about these right-wing. Hi, Neil. Let's talk about these right-wing lunatics.
Right-wingers, yeah. They're
they actually have nothing against Planned Parenthood as long as it's in dark countries.
Mm-hmm.
George Bush Sr. in his first term used to be called rubbers because every aid package came with birth control in the dark countries.
I'll be damned.
Just a little fun fact is the grandmother actually started Planned Parenthood. It was known as eugenics back then. It's a fact. Have a great day, Neil.
Okay, you too. I almost choked on my Asiago. It was great. Anyway, calm down a little bit. See, I can't read any of my bedtime stories while I got a mouthful of Asiago.
Yeah, I know.
Can't do it. So we'll just take some of these sensational calls. They've been pretty good this week for, knock on something. I don't have to knock on wood too hard now because our piece of equipment got fixed this morning. Thank you so much, my engineering friend. Oh, thank the Lord we got a real engineer here. Oh, boy, he's the best. He was here like 15 minutes. And you notice how much better I sound now? I never dreamed I could sound this good. If only we could turn the clock back about how many years?
About 30, man.
WQAM, hello. What is it? Yeah, back at you. WQAM, hello.
Hi, Neil.
Yes, ma'am.
Hey, this is Terry. I'm one of those
Terry.
soccer security moms everybody keeps talking about.
Uh-huh.
And I'm calling because I just found out that Senator Kerry's arriving in Fort Lauderdale tonight. And I'm bringing my kids, I call my friends, they're bringing their kids, and everybody has got to be there, turn out to show him our support in Florida.
Right. Well, I would hope that everybody would show him our support in Florida. November 2nd would be really good.
Yeah, but this is just a tip-off. We've got to show the world that we're down here, and we're,
Right.
Tell
him to lose a little bit of that tan. Don't overdo it.
No, I don't care about the tan. I care about the brain.
Tommy's
the
already
brain and the heart that's sadly
Right, there you
missing.
go.
So it's, I guess, I just got on the website and I found out that if you get there at 6 o'clock, it's at the Jetscape Terminal. That's near Fort Lauderdale Airport, and I have an address here if you want it. It's 240 Southwest 34th Street.
Okay.
And he's going to be arriving there, and we're going to be there to greet him.
All right.
Everybody who can get there.
Give him a big kiss for me. Thanks.
You bet I will.
See ya.
Thanks an awful lot.
There you go. Like I said, he's already going to get most of that dark vote. I'll tell you that poll that really disturbed me the other day, the Washington Post poll, where they had the demographics and all the. You could click on the thing and get the breakdown on the poll. The Washington Post ABC News poll. Even in women, Bush was 3 points ahead, 49-46, and Kerry had 76% of the black vote. And you'd say, well, gee, what do you want? That's pretty good. That's not pretty good.
No.
No, it was 79. Excuse me, 79, and that's not good. Democratic candidates traditionally get well over 90% of the black vote in presidential elections, and we better darn well start doing that right now. You know what I'm saying? Or else. Well, maybe it's subterfuge. Maybe they're lying to the pollsters. That way they figure they'll let a few black people vote. 26 past noon at 560 WQM. If you're planning on replacing your carpets, maybe you had some damage during one of these 85 hurricanes. Or maybe because your carpets look pretty schmutzy. Or maybe you're thinking about having your carpet area rugs or drapery professionally cleaned. Do yourself a favor. Do what I've been doing for over 20 years, and that is call the experts at Dry Concepts before you even think about calling anybody else. Dry Concepts is the best in the world in bringing your carpeting back to life and looking just like brand new. They'll sanitize your carpeting. They'll make them look like you just had brand new laid on the floor. And, of course, they dry clean your carpet. Same idea as dry clean your clothing, which sucks out even the deep down dirt and the germs way down there in the fibers, leaving your carpets vibrant in color. They smell lemony fresh. They're dry in just a couple hours, and you'll be amazed. It's like a miracle right on your floor. So forget about the other folks who give you those per-room scams, all that other BS, and then give you a bad surprise when they hand you the bill. Dry Concepts give you a guaranteed written price up front before they start doing the work every time. Call them today. I guarantee you, you'll never call anybody else. 1-800-248-5071. That's 1-800-248-5071. Or on that wicked World Wide Web, you'll find them at dryconcepts.com.
You're listening to Neil Rogers exclusively. QAM.
Bush.
Absolutely.
George Bush, there's a place you can land so that you can avoid Vietnam. Now you said you served active duty just fine, but you be absent in your mind, George Bush. Your position's at stake, 'cause John Kerry is out to seal your fate. It's those questions about the National Guard that might leave your reputation scarred. It's fun to say you're not AWOL, and you can prove you're not AWOL. What a funny thing, the military can't find where you were in that 1 year's time. You partied and you went AWOL. Your daddy helped you go AWOL. If you'd only come clean with a story that's real, you might earn back voter appeal.
No chance. You're out, George. 12:31 at 560. You know something?
What?
You just
Besides, I want to hear this bit end.
You want to hear what? Oh, I do love those. That kind of goes with the ambiance of the fact that they're not delivering those things in the mail. But that's another story for another day. We have a few minor problems to iron out, but it gives Muff something to do. And, of course, Clarence, well, that's another story. I did find this story about the paper in Crawford, Texas, endorsing Kerry, and I only found a little blurb. And so during the breaks, I've been searching and scouring for the real original AP story. And luckily, one of our astute listeners out there got it right on the Sun Sentinel web page.
Those are the stories we appreciate, not a 6-page story from the Smirking Chimp that we've already had on the site.
Yeah, that we already had on our website.
Earlier, yeah.
Don't be sending us any stories from Smirking Chimp, commondreams.org, stuff that we have on our website all the time.
Right, Tom Paine.
Right. And Capitol Hill Blue, etc.
Buzzflash.
Right. A tiny weekly newspaper that bills itself as President Bush's hometown paper has endorsed John Kerry for president.
All right.
Saying the Massachusetts senator will restore American dignity. The Lone Star Iconoclast, which has a weekly circulation of 425, said in an editorial dated today that Texans should rate the candidates not by hometown or political party, but by where they intend to take the country. This is in Crawford, Texas, no less. 4 items trouble us the most about the Bush administration: his initiatives to disable the social security system, the deteriorating state of the American economy, a dangerous shift away from basic freedoms established by our founding fathers, and his continuous mistakes regarding Iraq, the editorial said.
Absolutely correct, sir.
The Iconoclast, established in 2000, said it editorialized in support of the invasion of Iraq, and publisher W. Leon Smith promoted Bush and the invasion in a BBC interview, believing at the time that Saddam Hussein possessed weapons of mass destruction. Instead, we were duped into following yet another privileged agenda, the editorial said. We were duped, we were lied to by the master of all liars, the Bushmeister. They didn't exactly say that. I'm going to do my own editorial, and why not? The newspaper praised Kerry for 30 years of experience looking out for the American people and lauded his background as a highly decorated Vietnam veteran. Only Karl Rove and these Nazis in power, man, could turn it around with their AWOL president, their draft-dodging vice president, their chicken hawk secretary of defense, all of these things. And their turncoat Secretary of State, who's always, why do they, every time you read an article about Colin Powell, always has to, well, the highly respected, he's nothing but a lying piece of crap is what he is, a sellout. Oh, I'm not going to read these documents. This is a bunch of Schmidt. He says he throws the papers up in the air, and then like 2 weeks later, he's there in the UN reading about, well, here are the maps, and here's where the weapons are, and we know this, and we know that. Yeah, right. He's a sellout is what he is. I think it's because he's got that light tan, and that's what it is. Right?
Is that it?
That's got to be it.
He's color-coded.
Why does he get a free pass from everybody? Well, the more respectable and the more credible and the more, liar, phony. And then every now and then, he's just like McCain. Every once in a while, he seeps a little bit of the truth comes out. Like when he was last Sunday, when he was on Eat the Press or whatever on Sunday. Well, the situation in Iraq is really bad and the insurgency is much worse than we thought. Blah, 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 I guarantee you they dragged his ass out to the woodshed after that show.
For a tannin?
They
tanned his hide?
Well, they probably had Kerry there, too. We got a good tannin. Hey, they probably had that Bush-Kerry. What the hell's her name? Karen Hughes, the dyke.
They must have a tanner building.
They probably had her whip some shape into colon, I'll tell you that right now. Man, if she isn't the dykiest bitch I've ever seen in my life, I wouldn't be surprised if her and Condoleezza got something going.
I was just going to say, who's dyke you're looking to
Kenneth Masmacho, Condoleezza, or Karen Hughes? Oh, I accuse Karen Hughes. Man, I think she's got a big one, man, and I can't say the word on the air anymore because we can't say that anymore either.
Tentacle.
Yeah, a big tentacle. Like an octopus. Anyway, John Nichols writes on The Nation, in The Nation, online. This is good. I got so much good stuff here, and I'm not going to get anywhere near all of it today because we had many calls, and some of them actually worth talking to. It's shocking, Maybe this show we can stimulate a few people, okay? Maybe between the Sternmeister. I don't know how much, because we don't listen to his show, with all due respect. I don't know how much he's banging away against Bush, but I sure hope as it gets closer to Election Day, and it's only less than 5 weeks or 1 day less. It's getting really close. I hope that he does something to get some of his people out there to mobilize, especially in Florida, baby. We can't afford to let it get stolen again, and I guarantee you, if it's within I'd say 20,000, maybe
about 30, man.
30,000 votes. That's too close because then they can still steal it. They can still do all kinds of shenanigans with that. Oh, also it says in the Kitty Kelly book, when the networks declared that Gore had won Florida and won the election, that our fat ass governor cried. Isn't that something? He cried.
He loves his brother.
Then I guess somebody must have called him and said, "Oh, don't worry, Jeb, the fix is in." Probably Kathleen Harris. And he said, as he wiped the crocodile tears away from his puss, from his fat face. And allow me to say it again, a lot of you people voted for him. How do these things happen? How can there be so many stupid people in one place?
They have this.
John Nichols writes, the decision of CBS News to delay the broadcast of an investigation into how the Bush administration manipulated intelligence and played upon fears in order to make the case for war with Iraq is the most unsettling development yet in a political year that's been defined by unsettling moments. CBS News officials, rocked by the controversy surrounding the journalistic missteps of veteran anchor Dan Rather and 60 Minutes staffers in putting together what should have been an easy report on President Bush's troubled tenure in the Texas National Guard, have announced that they'll wait until after the November 2nd election to broadcast a much-anticipated investigation of the steps the administration took to warp the debate about whether to go to war. The fear, at least as it's officially expressed by CBS, is that revealing the extent of the administration's misdeeds might influence the outcome of the election by letting the American people in on what's really been going on in Washington. Thus, the CBS statement announced, "We now believe it would be inappropriate to air the report so close to the presidential election." That's right, because we don't feel the American people deserve the truth. Let them go cast a vote ignorant, blind to the truth. And then after they put this bastard in there for another 4 years, then we'll tell them, oops, guess what? We knew this all along. Critics of CBS will, of course, speculate that the decision had less to do with the desire to be fair and balanced than with the fear on the part of corporate honchos that the airing of the expose would lead to new charges that the network is displaying an anti-Bush bias. After the fiasco involving doctor documents regarding Bush's time in the Guard, CBS insiders admit that they're afraid to broadcast reports about the doctor documents the Bush administration used to make its case for war. Critics also note that Sumner Redstone, CEO of CBS's parent company Viacom, has now repeatedly suggested in public statements and interviews that from a Viacom standpoint, we believe the election of a Republican administration is better for our company. But let's put these legitimate concerns aside and accept CBS at its word. Let's accept that the network does not want to air the report before the election because of genuine concerns on the part of CBS News professionals and CBS corporate officials about the impact sharing the truth of the American people might have on voting patterns. But let's also be clear about what's happened here. CBS News has ceased to be a news organization. A network that worries about whether its reports will offend the people who are in power is no longer practicing journalism, and a network that's so worried about being accused of bias that it won't reveal the truth to its viewers is no longer in the business of distributing news. Thomas Jefferson, James Madison, and the other founders of this country created the framework of a free press and fought mightily to defend the rights of dissident editors in the first years of the Republic because they feared the abuses of power that would result if presidents went unchallenged. They knew that democracy would only function if independent watchdogs were forever barking at the powerful from the columns of the partisan newspapers of their day. Jefferson may have put it best when he wrote in 1816 that the functionaries of every government have propensities to command at will the liberty and property of their constituents. There is no safe deposit for these, but with the people themselves, nor can they be safe with them without information. Where the press is free and every man able to read, all is safe. By extension, when powerful media outlets censor themselves, the safety to which Jefferson referred is threatened. The notion that a journalist would sit on a story because he or she fears being accused of bias or because an expose might have an impact on a presidential election would have shocked and offended Jefferson, Madison, Tom Paine, and the others who fought at the start of this American experiment to forge the way for a free press. If ever there was a time when a bold and unyielding free press was needed, Jefferson argued, it was in the weeks before a national election. At the point when the American people are preparing to determine who will lead their country, they need more than just stenography. They need news outlets that seek without fear or favor to speak truth to power. Without a free flow of information, especially controversial and shocking information about the most pressing issues of the day, citizens cannot make informed choices. And when citizens cannot make informed choices, democracy ceases to function. With their decision to sit on a story of how the Bush administration manipulated this country in the war, CBS News officials have chosen to block the free flow of information. As such, they've broken faith with the promise of a free press. They now are merely stenographers to power and impediments to democracy.
You're listening to Neil Rogers exclusively on 560 QAM.
Oh, this is Albert Qaeda from Taliban Records inviting you American infidel to buy latest Cat Stevens collection.
You know Muhammad is right. We'll take your head off your body. Got a machete with a real sharp blade. How I wish I had an American hostage. Make those infidels pay.
Also including this classic.
I was on an airplane and suddenly was detained. They're mad 'cause I converted and wear a towel on my head. I'm being followed by an F-16. What do they want with me?
The money from your purchase does not go to fund terrorism, really.
It's not time to get off the plane. Just relax and take it easy. You're just dumb, that's your fault. It wouldn't happen if I were a Jew. Fine dark skin and a rag if you want a detainee.
Another variation on a classic.
I ask myself every day which American should pay. Tell me, who would Muhammad slay? I'm cutting through the neck of a woman. She lifted her veil and exposed herself.
So buy new Cat Stevens collection today for $19.95. Or you can pay with Visa, MasterCard, or weapons of mass destruction.
Oh, so speaking of Cat Stevens, who writes this article for the LA Times yesterday, what a great segue. The former Cat Stevens says he hasn't changed, but the U.S. has. Something bad has begun, he'd be saying. Yusuf Islam, a.k.a. Cat Stevens, says, I was flying to Nashville last week with my 21-year-old daughter to explore some new musical ideas with a record label there. Ironically, I was trying to remain low profile because of the speculation that it might have raised in the music world about a return of the cat. Media attention was the last thing I wanted, but it seems God wanted otherwise.
Oh, God.
Toward the end of our journey from London to Washington, the plane was diverted. The captain announced something about heavy traffic. After landing in Bangor, Maine, 6 tall blue uniformed officers boarded and surrounded me and my daughter. Is your name Yusuf Islam, they asked? Yes, I confirmed. Do you mind coming with us and answering a few questions? At that point, my heart stopped and my daughter's face turned aspirin white. This was the start of the nightmare. These 3 FBI agents escorted me away from my daughter and asked me questions. At first, it sounded like they might have mixed me up with somebody else as they repeated the spelling of my name. No, Y-U-S-U-F, I carefully spelled out. The agents looked a bit puzzled. As they continued asking questions, some of their queries were obviously not related to me, so I thought this must be a matter of simple mistaken identity. Whether it was a mix-up or not remained unclear because they weren't under any obligation to give me a reason. The green visa waiver form I had so neatly filled in earlier had effectively denied me any right to appeal or answers. It was only when an immigration official read out to me a legal reference number that he mentioned some implication with terrorism, no further details necessary. The most upsetting thing was being separated from my daughter for 33 hours, not knowing how she was or when or where we might be united. Because my phone was confiscated, I couldn't contact my family. God Almighty, is this the same planet I'd taken off from? I was devastated. The unbelievable thing is that only 2 months earlier, I'd been having meetings in Washington with top officials from the White House Office of Faith-Based and Community Initiatives to talk about my charity work. Even further back, 1 month after the attack on the World Trade Center, I was in New York meeting Peter Gabriel and Hillary Rodham Clinton at the World Economic Forum. Had I changed that much? No. Actually, it's the indiscriminate procedure of profiling that's changed. I'm a victim of an unjust and arbitrary system hastily imposed that serves only to belittle America's image as a defender of these civil liberties that so many dearly struggled and died for over the centuries. Need I say that any form of terrorism or violence is the antithesis of everything I love and stand for? Anyone who knows me will attest to this. I've spent my life in the search for peace and understanding, and that was mirrored clearly in my music. Since becoming a Muslim, I've devoted my life to education, charity, and helping children around the world. Consistently, I've condemned the attacks of 9/11, stating that the slaughter of innocents, the taking of hostages, and cold-blooded killing of women and children have nothing to do with the teachings of Islam. I've openly and publicly repudiated the actions of groups that resort to such acts of inhumanity, whatever their names. Any allegations to the contrary are fabricated. The Quran equates the murder of one innocent person with the murder of all humanity. Ever since I embraced Islam in 1977, people have regularly tried to link me with things I have nothing to do with. Take the Salman Rushdie case as an example, or the regurgitating of the accusation that I support groups like Hamas. I'm a man of peace. I denounce all forms of terrorism and injustice. It is simply outrageous for anyone to suggest otherwise. The fact that I have sympathy for ordinary people in the world who are suffering from occupation, tyranny, poverty, or war is human and has nothing to do with politics or terrorism. Thank God my daughter and I were relieved of our ordeal and delivered home safely. I also thank all those who prayed for me and supported me through this dark episode. I've never harbored any ill will toward the good people of God's great earth anywhere, and wish the reverse was also true. Yusuf Islam, the singer formerly known as Cat Stevens, deported to Britain last week after being refused entry into the U.S., even though he'd been in the country, which the media didn't want to talk about too much, 20 times during the previous year, as he mentioned there.
Oh, yeah? Well, he's a doily-wearing
And then, of course,
terrorist.
Tom Ridge. You see, you know what really frost my ass? Jew Lieberman. Jew Lieberman, he epitomizes everything wrong with the Democratic Party today. The wimp factor. The wimp factor. See, George Bush won. He lost in 92 to Clinton because of the wimp factor. Almost lost to Dukakis, except Dukakis outwimped him in 88. The wimp factor. The entire Democratic Party, and with the exception of just a couple of people, a bunch of spineless wimps. And Lieberman comes on there after Howard Dean excoriated Tom Ridge for that last phony terror alert, that song and dance BS. And Dean had the balls to tell it like it was. Strictly political, which is what it was. Then we find out it was based on stale old information that was 3 or 4 years old. And immediately after Dean comes on there on Wolf Blitzkrieg, here we trot out Jew Lieberman. Well, I know Tom Ridge personally, and I know Tom would never lie about something as urgent. He would ever deceive the public. You're full of crap, Jew Lieberman. I hope you choke on some stale halava. How do you like that? Oy. Yeah. I hope somebody yanks your tzitzis too hard. Man. I hope your kishkis fall out. I hope you get some rotten Hamantaschen at Purim. In fact, well, whatever. That's what's wrong, right there. Tom Ridge comes on the other day. Well, you know, this name raised an alarm, and it was on the list, and we don't care whether it's a celebrity or not. You're full of crap, Tom Ridge. You're nothing but a freaking liar. And like Michael Moore says, terrifying the public, making them quake in their boots. Oh, there's another terror alert. Oh, thank God that Bush and the Nazis are keeping us safe. Who the hell are you kidding, man? You lying bunch of fascist bastards, you. For example, a growing number of career professionals within national security agencies believe that the situation in Iraq is much worse and the path to success much more tenuous than is being expressed in public by top Bush administration officials, according to former and current government officials and assessments over the past year by intelligence officials at the CIA and the Departments of State and Defense. How do you like that? Not that he's lying or anything. Not that he's trying to sugarcoat it, just like they sugarcoated his military record, or lack thereof. While President Bush, Defense Secretary Donald Hermann Goering Rumsfeld, and others have delivered optimistic public appraisals, officials who fight the Iraqi insurgency and study it at the CIA and the State Department and within the Army Officer Corps believe the rebellion is deeper and more widespread than is being publicly acknowledged, officials say. People at the CIA are mad as hell at the policy in Iraq because it's a disaster, and they're digging the hole deeper and deeper and deeper, said one former intelligence officer who maintains contact with CIA officials. There's no obvious way to fix it. The best we can hope for is a semi-failed state hobbling along with terrorists and a succession of weak governments. And let me point out again that before the Iraq attack, there were no terrorists in Iraq. How do you like that? Iraq wasn't a haven for terrorists, which now, as we know, they're coming there from everywhere. Even Colin Powell said that the other day. Even Alawi said that the other day.
They were all working together.
Things are definitely not improving, said one U.S. government official who reads the intelligence analyses on Iraq, analyzations. It's getting worse, agreed an Army staff officer who served in Iraq and stays in touch with comrades in Baghdad through email. Oh, gee, comrades. Uh-oh. Oh, bad choice of words. It just seems there's a lot of pessimism flowing out of there right now. There are things going on that are unbelievable to me. Unbelievable. They have infiltrators conducting attacks in the green zone. This was not the case a year ago. This weekend, in a rare departure from the positive talking points used by administration spokesmen. Don't you love that term, talking points?
Yeah.
Secretary of State Colin Powell acknowledged that the insurgency is strengthening and that anti-Americanism in the Middle East is increasing. Yes, it's getting worse, he said of the insurgency on ABC's This Week. At the same time, the U.S. commander for the Middle East, General John P. Abizaid, told NBC's Meet the Press that we will fight our way through the elections. Abizaid said he believes Iraq is still winnable, and once the new political order and the Iraqi security forces in place, everything will be kosher, or something like that. Powell's admission and Abizaid's sobering warning came days after the public disclosure of a National Intelligence Council assessment completed in July that gave a dramatically different outlook than the administration's and represented the consensus at the CIA and State and Defense Departments. That we got Soros is what we got. That's exactly what they said, Soros. In the best-case scenario, the NIC said, in the best case, Iraq could be expected to achieve a tenuous stability over the next 18 months. In the worst case, it could dissolve into civil war. Everything's fine. Mission accomplished, baby. And if I had to do it over again, I'd say the same bullcrap because I lie like hell. Just like I lied about my military service. Just like I lied about those memos. Just like I lied through my teeth about anything that's expedient for me. Just like about that abortion. And, of course, don't ask me anything about things I did in my youth when I was, like, foolish and youthful, like, 45. Stuff like that. Am I getting... What am I rambling on about here?
I don't know. It's great, though. You go,
I'm
Bill.
enjoying it. Don't forget, speaking of girls, join George and Boca Brian, and maybe Miguel, too.
Maybe.
From 5 to 7 this afternoon at Treasure Island, located right off the Palmetto, just north of the 122nd Street exit. Stop by for some very low-budget QM prizes, and... forget about the prizes, because you can check out this week's feature, Stephanie Evans. Maybe she just might pop on your way. Or maybe the other way around. You never know.
We can arrange.
Only time will tell. How's that poll coming, okay? I've been remiss. I don't know what it is, but it seems like we had about a half-hour show today. Is it me, or is it... I think because we got the new piece of equipment, I don't have to sit here on the edge of my seat, peeing in my pants, waiting for that technical thing to go off again. We've been going through some nasty times at QAM, just in case you haven't noticed out there. Anyway, here's the deal. 485 votes. What do you miss most about the 60s? Wasn't born yet, 131, 27%. Punks. Democrats with balls, 74. The music, 74. The sex, 45. Hippie chicks, 41. White athletes, 31. Cheap gas, 20. Jack and Bobby, 20. The drugs, 17. Segregation, 14. Racist bastards out there. Probably from the trailer parks that weren't blown away by the hurricane. They'll get you. A real free press, 13. Edible fast food, 5. And free maps at gas stations, 3. Edible fast food got 5 votes. I have no idea what that means. Do you?
Well, I think.
Maybe they're talking about finger foods. We'll figure it out. 12:56. There's Wolf Blitzkrieg again, man. If he don't look like Hermann Goering with a beard, I can't believe it. Man, would Hitler be proud of him or what?
Yes.
Guaranteed Mortgage Bankers are prepared to help you meet all your financing needs. If you're a first-time home buyer, or if you're refinancing and taking some cash out, these are definitely your best choice. These be. Guaranteed Mortgage Bankers are committed to excellent customer service, and it's not only their promise, it's their guarantee to you. So call them today at this toll-free number, 1-800-734-6616. At Guaranteed Mortgage Bankers, their goal is to build a lifelong relationship with their customers, which they did exactly that with a couple who moved down to Florida from New Jersey. These folks hadn't started their new jobs yet, but found a house they fell in love with. A couple hadn't lived in town for more than a week. had little money to put down, wanted to close in just 10 days. Well, guess what? Guaranteed Mortgage Brokers was able to secure the buyer's needs in order to close on time. They were able to give them 95% financing at an incredible, unbelievable rate of just 5.95%. And listen to this. Guaranteed Mortgage Bankers sends all of its clients on a fabulous 7-night cruise. It's their way of saying thank you for choosing them and doing business with them. Guaranteed Mortgage Bankers, no loans are too big or too small, whether it's bad credit, good credit, or in between. They'll work with you to get you the loan you need. Guaranteed Mortgage Bankers, call them today, toll-free, 1-800-734-6616. That's 1-800-734-6616.
You're listening to Neil Rogers exclusively on 560 QAM.
So, 2 hour.
The next survivor, only one will be lucky enough to win a Pontiac and say they were on TV. If they can survive Fallujah.
Oh, I can handle this. We're the mightiest nation on earth. It won't be long before these savages will learn to respect our fearless leaders.
Vacuous losers with no life are once again putting their lives on the line to entertain vacuous losers with no life.
This river's carrying the plague south. No problem. Production crew has plenty of avion.
Survivor Fallujah, only on CBS.
Someone's gonna die.
It's 102 at 560 WQM. Speaking of losers, those losers from the Oprah audience a couple of weeks ago, we never talked about this. Remember she gave everybody in a car?
Right. And
all those fat shut-ins. And then they started whining there. Oh, gee, well, the taxes on the car are going to be like $6,000-$7,000. Well, what do we do? Here's the advice, bitches. Okay, sell a car and pay the tax and keep the profit, okay? Doesn't that make sound like a deal to you?
But it's a car Oprah gave me.
Yeah, right. Only one thing we can say about that. Yeah, you too, Joyce. Anyway, Harvey Wasserman, who's a noted author and also, I want to make sure I get it right, also senior advisor to Greenpeace USA and the Nuclear Information and Resource Service. He writes this for the Free Press in Columbus, Ohio, not the Detroit Free Press, or not a real Free Press like we used to have in the 60s. Bush is history's top terrorist. Man, this is just one of my favorites. He sums it up in a nutshell. And it makes you really wonder, scratch your head real hard until it bleeds and wonder, how can there be so many people so stupid, so oblivious? And how can our fat-ass governor go on there with a straight face and say, oh, well, gee, MoveOn.org is even suggesting now that the hurricanes that we had were the result of global warming. Can you believe that? Man, oh, man, it's just incredible. Anyway, Harvey Wasserman writes, as the fourth global warmed hurricane in 2 months ripped through Florida, we were reminded that George W. Bush is history's top terrorist. We know, of course, that Bush has slaughtered thousands of Iraqis, imprisoned hundreds without trial or charges, and presided over the torture and sexual abuse of many of them.
Abu Ghraib.
He is the world's leading recruiter for hate American terrorists the world over. Bush's preemptive militarism has paved the way for countless crusades for oil and fundamentalism in the decades to come. He overthrew the elected government of Haiti, resulting in hundreds of deaths. He tried to do the same in Venezuela. Other target nations are sure to follow. Bush is also determined to turn AIDS into a profit center for the drug companies that help fund him. His attacks on sex education, birth control, and reproductive choice will kill girls and women for decades to come, especially if he recriminalizes abortion in a second term. As Texas governor, Bush executed a record 150-plus people. He publicly mocked at least one, Carla Faye Tucker, who had asked him to spare her. His escalated war on drugs has helped stuff 2.2 million Americans into the largest gulag in world history. Many suffer regular physical and sexual abuse. Many are also conveniently deprived of their right to vote. Bush's catastrophic No Child Left Behind program is decimating America's once proud education system, vastly escalating illiteracy and ignorance. He is barring thousands of students who traditionally come here from overseas. Their disappearance will further cripple American education, as well as America's historic role in spreading democratic values to young people around the world. Bush has also decimated the Bill of Rights and basic freedoms embodied in the U.S. Constitution, paving the way for a potential dictatorship should he get a second term. In short, he's done to America things no foreign terrorist could ever imagine. But it all pales before Bush's all-out attack on the natural environment, which will ultimately kill hundreds of millions of people. Bush's eco-terror crusade has two primary roots, corporate greed and fundamental religious extremism. On the corporate side, Bush's entire environmental policy can be summarized in a simple sentence. Any polluter favored by the Bush regime can pillage and destroy any sector of the American ecology, regardless of the consequences, with full official sanction, including huge taxpayer handouts. Bush's signature flip-flop has been on global warming. The scientific and insurance community is now virtually unanimous that rising carbon dioxide levels are wreaking utter havoc with global weather patterns, including this latest parade of Caribbean hurricanes. The only dissenters are oil company flacks, flat earth think tanks, and fundamentalist fanatics. And, of course, fat-ass Governor Jeb Bush. Bush promised in 2000 that if elected he would endorse the Kyoto Accords to cut CO2 emissions, but then he joined Joseph Stalin in demanding that science fit his bizarre ideology. At the behest of his petro-backers, including Dick Cheney's Halliburton, Bush has scorned a global consensus that includes his primary ally in Iraq, British Prime Minister Tony Blair. Two of the world's biggest insurance companies, Swiss Rex and Munich, have issued strong warnings about the skyrocketing cost of climate catastrophes. Even British Petroleum has voiced concern at the same time, making massive investments in solar power. Bush's fossil nuke energy plan gives huge tax credits for gas-guzzling Humvees, but has cynically stalemated long-standing green energy taxes easements, crippling the once booming U.S. wind power industry. 3 years after Bush allowed 9/11, America's 103 atomic power reactors remain vulnerable to attacks from the air. The first plane that flew into the World Trade Center could instead have turned the Indian Point reactors north of New York City into radioactive infernos. Such an apocalyptic attack could still happen, killing millions and costing trillions, dwarfing 3 Mile Island and Chernobyl. By doing nothing significant to make U.S. reactors safer, Bush has painted them with a big terror bullseye. Bush is also reviving nuke weapons production and testing, escalating the likelihood of nuclear war and production disasters. After 9/11, Bush lied to the people of New York about the toxic fallout from the World Trade Center collapses. His cover-up caused countless avoidable deaths. His assaults on the air, water, food, and other regulatory responsibilities daily poison millions worldwide. They feed the ongoing plague of cancers, lung and heart disease, childhood afflictions, and too much more to catalog here. Acid rain and ozone destruction add to the horrors of global warming, as do Bush's attacks on America's national parks and public lands. As history's most environmentally destructive human, Bush's hate nature crusade has been blessed by fanatic fundamentalists who believe destruction of the planet will hasten the Messiah. James Watt, Ronald Reagan's Interior Secretary, scorned attempts to preserve the earth by announcing that Jesus was coming soon anyway. Bush spinmeister Karl Rove banned such blunt talk, but his all-out attacks on environmental protection, fuel efficiency, renewable energy, and much more have already guaranteed an avoidable death toll unparalleled in human history. The evil winds of climate chaos now blasting through the Caribbean may soon seem like mild breezes compared to the ultimate eco-curse of George W. Bush. Attila the Hun, Genghis Khan, the Kaiser, Hitler, Stalin, Saddam, Bin Laden. None have killed more than those dying and destined to die at Bush's anti-green hands. His terror attacks have driven Mother Earth to the very brink. 4 more years and he might just finish her off, and all of us with her.
No, I really hate those articles that
I beg your pardon?
Beat around the bush like that.
Yeah, right. And the public is sitting out there like, oh, gee, we're scared. Please protect us, W. Please protect. Yeah. Here's the ultimate coward, the draft-dodging coward who was too scared to fly. But he's going to be the courageous leader, the crusader that's going to lead us against the infidels, against the evildoers. A lot of evildoers in the world, but the most dangerous ones are the ones sitting right there in the freaking White House. 5670560, been rambling too much. Pound 560 on the Verizon Wireless and Singular Wireless lines. It is singularly amazing. WQAM, hello.
Mr. Rogers.
Yes, sir.
Good afternoon to you, sir. Hold on for a second. I'm sorry. I'm pulling my hair back. You don't want to be on speakerphone. Let me turn my radio down.
Much
sir,
better.
Don't ever stop telling the truth the way you are. I'm an avid Neil listener. Been with you back in the days of Zeta.
Absolutely.
And I will. I don't know what we're going to do when you leave or go because you're the only one on the airways to speak the truth. Bush has got to go.
Hey, listen, I'm going to pull a Jay Leno. I'm going to retire in the year 25.
Please, sir, don't leave us, please. Especially me. I would be lost without you. I swear. And tell the hockey players to get their egos back on and get back to work. This whole season being gone really sucks. I hate that. Bush has got to go and bring back hockey.
I say Bush has got to go, and Gary Bettman and Bob Goodenough right on his ass.
Right on, sir. You're definitely correct.
Calm down. Or not. There's a guy that's kind of whipped up and fired off and pissed up, or however that goes. What do you miss most about the 60s? Wasn't born yet. 145, 27%. Democrats with balls, 80. Music, 80. Hippie chicks, 48. The sex, 48. White athletes, remember those? 33. Cheap gas, 21. Jack and Bobby, 20. Segregation, 18. The drugs, 20. A real free press 17. Free maps at gas stations 5. Edible fast food 5 out of 549. Edible fast food. I should like to know where the hell that was. Maybe they're thinking like White Castle.
I don't know. They're just thinking it was better then.
I see. WQAM, hello.
How you doing, Neil?
Pretty good?
Good. Hey, I got a question. I just received an email the other day that Bush is trying to pass a bill on bringing the draft back for ages 18 to 26. I was wondering if you've heard anything about that.
No, it's bullcrap.
It is bullcrap.
Right.
Okay, because they said the bill is HR 163 or something like that.
Yeah.
I looked it up, but it didn't talk much about it.
Well, it's news to me, and don't you think that right before the election that they were really trying to bring the draft back right now, that we would hear about it? I would think so. I got an email about it, though. Of course, if Bush gets in, then all bets are off, you know, if he wins the election, which he likely will. Then all bets are off, because we don't have anywhere near enough military, and that's the way it goes. Don't you think?
Yeah, well, something's got to give.
Something's got to give.
I mean, they're doing all these extended things, the backdoor draft that we keep hearing about.
Right.
They're going to run out of carcasses, you know.
That's correct. 12 minutes after 1 at 560 WQAM.
Discuss welfare, education. I want to discuss the juvenile justice system.
Juvenile. He's pretty juvenile, if you ask me. Only dangerous in juvenile. Right now, Armstrong Ford of Homestead want to clear their lots and sell off all remaining 04s. That's 2000 04s. I almost said 1904s. Those would be something. Here's just some of the great deals waiting for you at Armstrong right now. An 04 F-150 pickup, just $1 over invoice. New 04 Explorers, just $1 over invoice. Rangers, Crown Vics, Tauruses, and Focuses, all waiting for you at just a single $1 over invoice only at Armstrong Ford of Homestead. Plus, Armstrong Ford continues to offer more value to you folks. When you buy your Ford there, you'll get their exclusive Tires and Batteries for Life program. That's right, tires and batteries for life. The value you'll get at Armstrong Ford doesn't stop there either, because right now they'll continue giving out a free Florida Sun Pass with every vehicle they sell. Pressed for time, Armstrong Ford knows your time is valuable, so call them and shop right over the phone. Call 305-247-5112. That's 305-247-5112. They'll even deliver that new vehicle right to you. Armstrong Ford of Homestead, they're locally owned and operated. They're a pleasure to do business with. They'll treat you just like family. And I guarantee, I'll bet George Corso's life on it, you won't get a better deal on a Ford anywhere. No bait and switch, no phony deals at Armstrong Ford of Homestead. They're at 30725 South Dixie Highway, just 20 minutes south of the 836. Check them on the web, armstrongcars.com, and then drive a little bit, but save a ton on that new Ford only at Armstrong Ford of prestigious Homestead.
You're listening to Neil Rogers. Correct. On 560 QAM.
A stench of cow manure hovers over this performance by the Dolphins.
This is Al Franken. Jim Bob Newsom has been hailed as one of America's greatest songwriters.
The river of freedom runs out your hole.
And when it comes to parodies, columnist Mitzi Mermelstein of the Penny Saver calls Jim Bob Newsom the greatest comedy writer since Milt Kamen.
Politicians don't tell the truth, and they lie.
Now, as a Grateful Dead fan, I appreciate the enormous talent of Jim Bob Newsom, because to me, he sounds just like Jerry Garcia.
I'm going to Costa Rica, 'cause they got Costa Ricans selling street rap shoes.
Now, no one else is as good as Jim Bob Newsom. Get your Jim Bob Newsom CD now at ImadeThisInMyToilet.com. Now.
Yeah, we can smell it. It's 118. I'll tell you, we can also smell that Air America. Are they doing something or what?
No.
Are they making an impact? Are they turning the country around?
No.
They're really having quite an impact. But I think once Al loosens up a little bit, then he'll be dangerous. And what's her name?
Catherine Lampert.
Oh, I got to make it a point to listen to that crap someday.
Yeah.
When I'm ready for the box. Veterans for Kerry barred from Bush rally. Oh, more of this kind of crap going on. Salem, Oregon, about 30 Oregon veterans.
About 30, man.
About 30 Oregon veterans who support Democrat John Kerry for president were rebuffed yesterday when they showed up at a Republican rally in hopes of delivering a letter to First Lady Laura Bush criticizing the war in Iraq. Oh, you can't do that. Bush spoke to about 3,500 of her husband's supporters at Chemeketa. What is that? Chemeketa.
Careful. I'm telling.
That's what it says. Chemeketa Community College in Salem, Oregon. As with other Bush-Cheney events in the state, admission was by ticket only, limited to supporters of the administration who had to have both lips pursed ready for a big kiss on Laura's ass. Oh, pretty tough on the First Lady there, huh? Before the rally, the group of pro-Kerry veterans asked Secret Service agents at the site to deliver a letter to Bush, but were told they'd have to mail the letter to the White House. Right. I mean, what does she look like, the mail lady or what? Now, Karen Hughes, she looks like a mail lady. Woo. Terry Kirsch, a Vietnam veteran from Canby, Oregon, said he later tried to use a ticket to get into the event, but was told the fire marshal had closed the site. It was very disheartening to me as someone who fought in the war and was wounded in the war, and now I'm not allowed to hear my government speak, Kirsch said. Kevin Mannix, chairman of the Oregon Republican Party, said the decision to close the event had to do with safety, not politics. He also dismissed complaints by Kirsch and other Kerry backers about access to the rally, or is that access? This was a rally for Bush-Cheney supporters, Mannix said. If people have already made up their minds to support John Kerry, then they're welcome to attend John Kerry's rallies. Kind of scary if you're for John Kerry. Not as scary as he looks, but almost. Although I do love that nice tan, man. I bet you by the time that we have the debate tomorrow night, he's going to look like Al Sharpton. As a matter of fact, Chris Matthews had a good line he had Sharpton on last night. He had a great line. He said, couldn't you be the ventriloquist for Kerry during the debate? Wouldn't that be great? Then we'd hear no BS, no punches pulled. Oh, and also a good fact. Something for the pull. What do you miss most about the 60s? My youth. How did we forget that? I bet you that'll go skyrocketing up to the top. You got that on there, Josh? Good. Nice work.
Doing it now.
My youth. This is the lowest blow, writes. This is an editorial in the Capital Times of Madison, Wisconsin, where inexplicably, even though Al Gore won Wisconsin and you'd expect Wisconsin to go Democratic, where inexplicably the polls lately have been showing Bush ahead. Too many cheeseheads, too many Nazis, too many drunks. That's the problem in Wisconsin. Here's the editorial. The Republican National Committees acknowledge sending mass mailings to voters in at least two states that suggest Democrats would, if elected in 2004, ban the Bible. Literature designed and paid for by the Republican Party and distributed in West Virginia and Arkansas featured an image of the primary text of Christianity and the label banned. Next to it was an image of a gay marriage ceremony labeled allowed. The text beneath the image is read, "This will be Arkansas if you don't vote," or "This will be West Virginia if you don't vote." The literature was distributed as part of a campaign to stir fears among evangelical Christians whose votes the Republican National Committee and the George W. Bush campaign believed could provide margin of victory for the president's re-election campaign in key swing states, a.k.a. Farbissen and Goyam. To the view of the people working for the Republican National Committee and the Bush campaign who are following a god named Karl Rove, this is just politics. Under the influence of the White House political czar, who's guided Bush's every step in the electoral arena, they've suspended morality in the pursuit of a win-at-any-cost approach to electioneering. But this is not just politics. This is something much darker, much more troubling. When political operatives begin to tell people that their holy text will be banned if they don't vote for a particular candidate or party, they enter into a danger zone. People take their religion seriously. History and contemporary experience tell us that they're willing to kill or be killed in order to defend their faith. One of the most powerful recruiting tools for terrorists is the suggestion that one's religion is threatened. Playing with religion is playing with fire, and to do so for political gain is beyond defense. Or is that beyond defense?
Defense.
Just look over defense. The Democratic candidates for President and Vice President, John Kerry and John Edwards, are active members of different Christian denominations. They've not proposed banning the Bible, nor have other leading Democrats, nor have the federal jurists whose spokesman for the Republican National Committee claim inspired their fanatical claims. There is no threat to the Bible. But there is a threat. Political operatives who lack any moral compass are stirring dangerous fears. They need to be called to account. Responsible Republicans, and despite the foul actions of the Republican National Committee and the Bush campaign, it should be remembered that there are still many responsible Republicans, should call upon their party apparatus and their president's campaign committee to cease all appeals to religious bigotry and fear. Democrats and independents, along with thoughtful religious leaders, have already objected to the GOP mailings. What they're doing is despicable, Interfaith Alliance leader Don Parker says of the Republicans. They're playing on fears and emotions. The Charleston Gazette newspaper in West Virginia complained of the childish allegations that Democrats want to ban the Bible. But ultimately, this isn't a mess that will be cleaned up by religious leaders and newspaper editorial pages. This is an issue that responsible Republicans must themselves address. They should do so quickly and loudly, condemning those political operatives who, in their ham-handed attempt to mingle religion and politics, have found the low ground and occupied it. The lowest blow, that's the headline of the editorial in the Madison, Wisconsin Capital Times. Low blow. How's Rob doing, by the way?
Just fine.
She should never have left that West Wing, I'll tell you that right now. I don't watch either one of the shows. Oh, here's a good one. This is an excellent choice for our poll. What I miss most about the 60s, good radio. Oh! Yeah. Oh, God. Good radio. You got it, Josh?
We got it.
Real top 40 stations, progressive rock, freeform, chicken rock, real personalities.
Chicken rock.
And Chicken Man, too. He's everywhere, you know. Chicken Man. 5670560, pound 560 on the Verizon and Singular wireless lines. As we're getting the audience whipped up into a spastic frenzy, aren't we?
No.
They're just foaming at the mouth.
No.
WQAM, hello.
Neil Rogers.
Yes?
How you doing?
Okay, how you doing?
Good. I was thinking, I turned the radio on at like 10 o'clock and I heard Howard. My heart almost dropped out of my you-know-what. Anyway, I'm glad you're still on the radio. And just to follow up on what you were saying about the Republicans and we're going to ban this and ban that, people would sell their own mother to get this guy reelected to a really bad nursing home. And proof of that is what you just talked about, and I just wanted to put my 2 cents on that.
Okay, Pally, we're still here. Whenever Howard decides to go home, that's when we're on every day.
All right, buddy.
Thanks,
Howard.
See? People don't even know yet. People have no idea what's going on yet. But they're busy having budget meetings at Greg's house today. Oh, yeah. So don't be messing. Today, that's the excuse du jour, you know, why we don't want to take care of business. Well, it's budget meetings at Greg's house, and then tomorrow there'll be a distant relative who'll die somewhere in, like, Czechoslovakia. Right? Even though there ain't no more Czechoslovakia. But there'll be some story. There'll be some excuse. I think I'm getting ready to get me a real agent, you know what? I'm getting ready to Schmidt-can at silly
Agent Orange?
It's that silly fruitcake, that baseball-obsessed fruitcake. Hey, guess what, Norma? The season's just about over. The Marlins ain't going to make it. I just mentioned that in passing. You silly fruit, you. 26 past 1 at 560 WQM. People are trying, a lot of people just now coming back from the summertime, from Labor Day, the holidays, the hurricanes, all of these things. So we owe it to them to kind of explain what the hell's going on here. And when anybody tells us, we'll let you know. Jim Mandich, too, we know that. We got the humper, Hank Goldberg, back after a lengthy, ridiculous, asinine suspension and vacations and more suspension. Hank is back 4 to 6:30. Then you got your Marlins on deck 6:30, 7 o'clock. Marlins at the Expos in one of the least significant games in history. And then Eddie K after the baseball game. Now, did you ever find out, did the Expos have any more home games after this series or what?
No, who cares?
Come on now, that's heavy-duty stuff. I get to, there are a whole bunch of frogs up there really whipped up.
About 30, man.
Yeah. In fact, they had like 6 or 7 of them marching all through Montreal the other day with big placards saying, Parlez-vous chimpanzee? Or some crap like that. It is a beautiful city, though, Montreal. It's just the people that suck. Kind of like South Florida. Yeah, I've been telling you for a long time how you need to shop at 1-800-Mattress. Well, guess what? Now I want to tell you even more. Dollar Mattress is proud to carry the top names in the business, including now Sealy Posturepedic, the #1 brand in mattresses. Call 1-800-Mattress today and you'll get factory direct prices on all Sealy Posturepedics. When you call 1-800-Mattress, you'll get same-day delivery all across South Florida. By calling 1-800-Mattress, you'll choose from the deepest and widest selection of Sealy bedding, all available for same-day delivery in that 2-hour window that you choose to fit your schedule. And Dollar Mattress, of course, shows up on time 99.7% of the time. What's not to like? Dollar Mattress is ranked #1 in customer satisfaction. They were winners of the 2004 Better Business Bureau Local Torch of Excellence Award. So if you want to waste a lot of time and money and gas, schlep around and comparison shop in your bedding in department stores, and then you'll still come back and make that one easy call, which you can do right now sitting on your fat ass, and get you the best deal all the way around as far as price, selection, and delivery too. Call 1-800-Mattress or check them out on the web at mattress.com. 1-800-MATTRES.
You're listening to Neil Rogers exclusively. QAM. This November, make your voice heard in a soothing and non-interruptive way. This November, soft rock the vote.
Hello, I'm Phil Collins. Please join me and my other adult contemporary friends and soft rock the vote, won't you? Isn't that right, Gloria?
That's right, Phil. I'm Gloria Estefan. Get on your feet, come on, and make it happen. Register to soft rock the vote.
Excellent statement to Islamic extremists worldwide, senior counterterrorism official said this week. The official said the network's aim in the U.S. and in other countries as well is mainly to disrupt the democratic process in a more general sense. Striking America at a time of heightened sensitivity, perhaps they would see that as a feather in their cap, said one senior administration official, who along with 3 others briefed reporters on condition of anonymity Monday about the pre-election threat. The official said that while intelligence repeatedly indicates that al-Qaeda operatives oppose President Bush, no evidence has been found they hope a successful attack might boost the candidacy of Democrat John Kerry. The anti-Bush sentiments, here's the most important part. Listen carefully to this line.
Right.
The anti-Bush sentiments, the official said, are part of a broader hatred of the United States and Western democracies as a whole. And, of course, they have a lot of company in that first part of that sentence, a broader hatred of the U.S. It's really not for our consumption, the official said, of the motive behind the attack. It's for their supporters, to whip them up into a frenzy, to make them more gung-ho. Vice President Cheney, as we know, sparked intense Democratic outrage this month when he said while campaigning in Iowa that if voters make the wrong choice November 2nd, the danger is that we'll get hit again. Cheney later, with egg on his puss, but of course, realizing that most people wouldn't forget the original words, said he didn't mean that if Kerry were elected, that al-Qaeda would attack. Did he? Did he mean that? Yeah. Terrorism analysts and government officials have said, however, that al-Qaeda was emboldened by the March commuter train bombings in Madrid, which was a factor in the ousting of Spain's former ruling party. The 4 senior officials said they've continued to receive intelligence confirming al-Qaeda's intentions to attack prior to the election, which the U.S. government's been warning about since spring. When have they stopped warning? Let's see, we had the 4th of July, we had Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, Sukkot, Simchas Torah, May Day, Memorial Day, Labor Day, New Year's, remember that?
Yeah.
Christmas, Easter Sunday, All Saints Day,
Kwanzaa.
Kwanzaa. Oh, and of course, guess what's coming up? I'm not really sure exactly when it starts, but it's very, very soon.
Ramadan.
Isn't it like all of January?
No, it's sooner than that, I believe. Ask one of your schmott-head friends, they'll know.
I don't know anybody.
Oh, yeah, you do. Come on. Well, I'll ask here. We got nothing. Man, oh, man. I'll just go out and talk to the cab drivers. Wow. I mean, if they want to hide terrorists in Canada or anywhere in the Western Hemisphere, Toronto's the place, eh? Wow. Boy, we got more varieties of headgear here than you ever even knew existed.
Matter of fact, at this point, I know like 5 Israelis and still no Arabs.
And you remember I told you a few months ago that, well, that's why you have such a jaundiced view.
Yeah,
you just don't know any nice Israelis yet. I'm sure there must be some. Remember I told you that the Dalai Lama was in town, and that all those purple-shrouded, purple-hazed people were, oh, boy. It just makes you want to cry.
They were orange.
No, purple. You better get with it, mister. No, that's, what's his name? Tim McVeigh that was wearing orange. And starting today, it's Martha Stewart. Oh! Yeah, she reported to, is it Virginia or West Virginia? With a banjo on her thing. She reported for duty in jail today, Martha Stewart. Did you know that?
Well, I saw it on the,
I saw it on the TV. So it must be true. Oh, and we also saw the economy is doing so great. That's what the Bushmeister would tell us. That's why Delta Airlines said yesterday it'll cut wages by 10% and its chief executive will go unpaid for the rest of the year, kind of like what Al Franken was going to do at Air America. But it still warned Delta of bankruptcy within weeks unless more cuts are made. So let's see. U.S. scared. They're right on the edge. Delta, they're going under. We got 1.7 million jobs lost, first time since Hebert Hoover and the Great Depression. The war is going to hell in a handbasket. Even Roland Cohen sellout Powell says that. The economy is going to hell. We had 4 hurricanes in about 5 minutes because of global warming, in spite of what fat-ass Governor Bush tells us. And so, what's not to like, right?
Right.
I say 4 more years. And by that, and another 4 years, and that'll about kind of wrap it up. 151 at 560 WQM. If you want to know more about following a low-carb diet, you want the best-tasting, largest selection of low-carb foods at the best price, then head for a store that's entirely dedicated to you and your needs. It's called the Lights of West Boca. Whether you're starting or restarting the Atkins, the Sugar Busters, the South Beach, or any low-carb, sugar-free diet, the Lights of West Boca is and always has been the #1 low-carb store in town. Now, you can shop your local grocery store for some of the basics, but if you want a better selection of low-carb goodies, if you want to sample anything in the store before you buy it, and if you want people who really know low-carb dining inside and out with the friendliest customer service, then this is the place for you, the low-carb headquarters, the Lights of West Boca. You'll find over 1,200 delicious products there like Carbolite ice cream, breads, pasta, chocolates, brownies, cookies, and lots more. Delights is open every day, 7 days a week from 10 a.m. to 10 p.m., and you'll find them on the northeast corner of Glades Road and 441, right next to Boston Market. Call them toll-free at 1-877-LOW-CARB, L-O-W-C-A-R-B, or on the web it's lowcarb.com. There's only one, but what a store it is. Delights of West Boca, your official Atkins Retail Center.
You're listening to Neil Rogers on 560 QAM.
Absolutely.
She's oily, doily, and old. Looks like the Quaker Oats died. Smells from the body roll mold. Barbara Bush has body bells and eyes full of her ice pop out. It happened when she realized she raised for criminal clout. Barbara Bush has body bells and eyes. And she's nasty, old and crafty, and she raised for place and taxi. She's atrocious and takes some bricks to anyone who says they want no voice. Walks like she's carrying a bowling ball between her thighs and has body bells and eyes. She doesn't mean to talk as if she's always surprised. She's wiggle when she talks. Barbara Bush has body bells and eyes. She gave us George Bush and Jeb Bush, not to mention Neil and Marvin Bush. He'll be rich and fat and smells just like the maggot stores on a big matter. Barbara Bush resembles Ernest Borgnine on a bad day with Marty bells and eyes.
Martha Washington, man, don't be picking on the First Lady. 150 is pretty tough on the First Lady, huh, George?
Yeah, pretty hard on her.
158, we got the Mad Dog standing by next. One of these days, not soon, because we do too many of those food polls, but the worst item, didn't we once do the best of your favorite fast food item at any fast food joint?
Yes, we did, recently.
Not too long ago. But we never did the worst, and since these people are so, they want to get out of their system, that would be good. The worst piece of crap, like a Big Mac.
Okay.
Or like a Whopper at Burger King. Big piece of rubber. Now, did you tell me, did I dream it, or did I say that did I hear you say you ate at Burger King?
Not in the past 10 years.
Oh, good. Maybe I dreamed it. Maybe it was a nightmare. Here's the poll results so far. This turned out to be a good poll. Thanks to our good friend Sean. Tomorrow I think we'll do the curmudgeon one. I like that one.
Mm-hmm.
The cranky old fire, and I'll be on there. I hope we get a lot of votes. And then, of course, don't forget, you know who they didn't put on here? Yeah, see, out of sight, out of mind. We'd like to get back to the day when Mo was unbeatable. Remember those days? No matter what poll you put him on. Who's got the biggest head? Who's the biggest piece of crap? Who's, got the most stentorian voice? Who's got the loveliest eyes? Mo. Right?
Right.
What do you miss most about the 60s? That was our poll question today. I'm eating a few cashews now. So
okay.
A little cheese earlier, a little of that Asiago, and a few cashews right now. So I apologize profusely for eating on the air. Not.
You were eating Asiago on the air?
I was eating Asiago, and I bet you Joyce ain't too happy about that. But you know what, Joyce? Too freaking bad, bitch. Here's the deal. What you miss most about the 60s, 689 votes. Wasn't born yet, 183, 26.5%. The music, 103. The music. And we never played any, damn it. Well, maybe all day tomorrow. Democrats with balls, 93. The sex, 62. Hippie chicks, 59. White athletes, 43. Yeah, there was a whole bunch of them back in the 60s. And in the 50s, forget about it. Cheap gas, 27. The drugs, 24. The drugs. A real free press, 21. Jack and Bobby, 21. Rest in peace. Segregation, 20 for all those racists out there. And believe me, we got a lot. My youth, 19. That's moving up. Edible fast food, 7. Maybe you can fax us for tomorrow's show what the hell that was. Free maps at gas station, 5. And good radio. Oh, good God, it was good. Only 2.
Bye. Our special Neil Rogers and sports around the clock. Solid. Miami, Fort Lauderdale.
We're looking at 10 inches.
9.